Hey everyone, I'm Rudy, and this is the Mega All-in-One Planet Coaster 2 tutorial, in which you are going to learn to build a park like this. Actually, you're going to build this very park with me. This is going to be a real-time tutorial. You will not experience any bigger cuts or quick explanations. We are going to do this every single bit, step by step. The chapters, which will be the only cuts you're going to experience in this tutorial, will be building directly upon each other, so you're going to learn this really from step to step to step, not only learning the tools, but also learning how to go into building a park like that. Hopefully, to be able to build a theme park of your dreams at the end of this very tutorial. I've spent already over 100 hours in this game and a bajillion hours in all the other Planet games, so hopefully I'm the right person to guide you through. Now, without further talking, the next 4 hours is you, me, and a lot of music and a lot of tools, so grab yourself a snack, a drink, or whatever, and let's jump into this mega tutorial. Alright, so lean back and enjoy this mega tutorial. We are going to start with the basics, and I know this game or these types of games can be very overwhelming. You're staring at a big green canvas in front of you, and the first thing I would recommend to do, and you've just seen I have already done this because it's always so in my muscle memory, is hit pause. I also did relocate my keys. Usually in this game, when you start it the first time, the spacebar will be your pause and unpause button. I actually changed this because I'm so used to having this set for angle snap. We're going to talk about angle snap in a different part of this tutorial or in a later tutorial, depending on if you're watching this as a one or in steps. And you can remap this obviously on in the settings, which I really do recommend if you're already used to having spacebar as a angle snap and P as pause button. Now, once this is done, to make you guys feel so comfortable, and honestly, this is the most important thing about building in these types of games, make yourself comfortable before you go, because everything can be so overwhelming. You go down here or press the N button, and then this little set lighting bubble pops up, or the window pops up. Now, set this to on and go to a time of day that you really enjoy in terms of the lighting. I think I'm gonna go for, actually, 1 p.m. is good, a little German in me. 1 p.m. is good. We're going to start with 1 p.m. And this makes me feel already so much better because I see everything is nice. The second thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make myself the map feel very nice. Therefore, the first tool we are learning in the basics is the demolish tool. Yes, before we create something, we first of all demolish something. Just as a little explainer, you have all the different settings, what you can delete. So if you set all filters to off and you say, I wanna have only lakes, for example, you can brush over whatever you want and you will not delete anything. But if you go over lake, the lake is gone. But if you turn on all the filters, you can basically delete everything. So just as a bulldoze tool, you would expect it to be. And also, as you may have seen, you already deleted the entrance as well. But fear not, you can build your own spawn points and so on. We are going to do this in today's tutorial. I mean, you've seen what we are having later on, so you know that there is a spawn point. And this is a very nice green canvas for us, okay? So a couple of things might need to be done, but in order to see where we can build, you can click the top left where you have the park expansion. That's a new feature in this game, and you can see which land you are owning at the moment. Since this is Sandbox and we are basically owning the maximum space available anyways, this is not expandable, but you can see that this is exactly the area we can build in. Very nice visualization of where to build. I want to build a bit more in the middle, and for a basic tutorial, I want to give you the basics of the game. I'm not going to go through all the menus because you'll find out yourself, and some menus are just important at the very end in a management tutorial or in a scenery tutorial. So basically I'm just explaining where you find what, and then we'll go from here. So the basic menu, as you can see to your bottom of your screen, will give you a couple of indicators. This is where you find all the different things you need. This is basically all the content, and this is where all the tools sit over here to the bottom left. So this is where you have the path, the scenery, the terrain, the demolish, and multi-select. And you also have a tool that you can use while clicking on the Alt key, and it will bring up the radial menu, which is always context-based. And I think this is one of the few console editions I really love having in the PC edition now. By the way, if you're watching this on console, everything I explain will work exactly the same way on console. The only thing is I cannot tell you exactly the buttons, simply because they're not shown. So you will also have a key for bringing up the radial menu. Just please check which key that is, and then you'll be able to open menus quickly and so on. Now, Before we do anything else, we just need to get rid of all this confusion where certain things want to go or so. So I highly recommend, as for the basics, the first thing you do after you've made yourself confident is set which camera setting you want. There are different camera settings in this game. So the first camera setting is the one you're greeted with as of right of the game. So let's focus on this kind of stone texture in the center. And if I now rotate my camera, you can see I'm rotating around this central rock over here. If I press T on my keyboard or I press on the camera key down here, you will change the camera mode. Now you've seen there was a full camera setup now, and if I do rotate again, you can see now I'm rotating around myself. So basically the main difference is that one camera centers around the focus and the other centers around yourself basically. I do prefer the one around myself because it just gives me that more control to fly where I want to. Holding down the shift key will allow you to fly a bit quicker, and going WASD will help you maneuver, and holding the right mouse key lets you drag your screen around. Unfortunately, this game does not come with edge scrolling anymore. I really hope that they will fix this later on, so maybe in the future tutorial this is part of the game, but at the moment it's not. So this is what you need to know. And then to the top of the screen we have the heat maps. We will talk about them very late in the tutorial or in a different tutorial depending on what you're watching, because they need a certain setup to work. So at the moment the heat maps basically don't show anything, which is obviously clear because we don't have done anything now. So the next part for the basics is down here, the very bottom part of your screen. So you can see my money is unlimited because I don't want to have to struggle in here, but usually you see how much money you have over here, how many guests, what the rating of your park is, then you have which day you have, and if you unpause you can also see the time of day. And then to the right hand side you have another weather tab. If you open that real quick, you'll get a day overview and the next 2 days in advance as well. It's going to tell you we have winter at the moment, pendling between 17 and 22 degrees, and we've got fully sun until 11, and then it goes into a bit more cloudy, a bit more light rain this afternoon, and some windy stuff. And the next coming days might also bring certain weather, certain things, you know. And this already brings me to the last part of the basics, because honestly you're already pretty good to go, but I always recommend to plan things ahead. Okay, so we've talked about all the different features. We will quickly talk about the scenery brush in a second for this basic tutorial, but planning things ahead is so important, and I love to do this with the terrain tool. So if you go into the terrain tool, you can basically avoid all the terrain icons over here. We're going to talk about them when we need them, but you can do this with the painting tool. And now, as we have so many new painting options, it's going to make life so much more simple. So you're going to choose a very distinct one to what you want to do, and I'm going to go for sand. I increase the intensity and I'm going to make this a little bigger because I just want to get an idea. So my idea is, whoops, I'm just going to fly back in here. So my idea was that we're going to take an area down here where we have like a helipad, you know. This is going to be where we have a helipad from which the people are coming in. Not sure if there is a heli in this game. We're definitely not going to build one, but we're going to pretend that this is a helipad as like in the Jurassic Park area. And then we're going to have like a little bit of a kettle pan style path over here, so that just like goes like so. I don't know, this may be where the area is in here. And then we got our entrance to our park area in here. It's going to be our entrance. This will be where we learn the scenery building. Okay, so this is going to be very much focused on scenery building here. And also, if we fancy doing this, we can then over here, this is the entrance area. From over here, we are going to choose a compact dirt. Is that distinct enough? It is. So from over here, we can basically paint out what we want to do. So basically, I want to have like a swoop-in path that goes over here, and another one that goes in another extent to the other side. So this is pretty much it. And then obviously this all shall be a bit more like a plaza, you know, but just giving me an idea. It's not going to be how exactly it's going to look. I just want to plan things ahead to have a feeling where I need to do certain things. So then I may have some pools over here. So there goes a pool, and maybe there goes a pool. Again, it's not going to be important if it is exactly this. It shall just give you an idea what you want to do, because that certainly helps you while building. I'm going to use the rock to say, okay, I'm going to have like a roller coaster over here. I don't know what type of roller coaster that's going to be. but just going to pretend there is like a roller coaster layout over here. Damn, there you go. We've got a roller coaster. Okay, so this is set over here. And then in this central area, we may have our staff facilities. Let's therefore get the soil. And then we're gonna make like a bit of a facility area here, where we also have some power and stuff next to it, because obviously power is a requirement that we need to tackle with, you know, this is kind of how we want to build this. And that's almost already our setup, what we needed. Maybe we're going to put like a Flatride somewhere in here in the middle, you know, to block the view. This can be like a Flatride potentially. And then we can also have like another track ride that goes somewhere else, you know, just kind of take the moss and have like a different type of ride over here, just like so. And then if we want to find out where we want to put our, let's say, slides, for example, because we haven't done those, we take our pebbles and then we can say, okay, you know what, I'm just going to have some slides here and then maybe a rounded one that goes here, whatever. Okay, so this is that, looks very fancy, but this is how I usually plan things ahead, to have like a little bit of an idea where certain things go, because that will enable you a lot to make sure what you want to build. As promised, the last bit we are going to do in the basics is check out the scenery brush, because I feel like this has become a basic of the game. It was so much more of a building thing in the older games, but now it is so much more powerful. So basically what it does, it gives you the ability to paint things easily. So we are in the tropical area, so let's go for tropical, and then we've got tropical trees large. You can increase the intensity, you can increase the size, and then you can basically paint the foliage just as you can do this in Jurassic World Evolution. Looking at that, I get these Jurassic World Evolution vibes over here, not gonna lie. So you can also say, okay, maybe that's too intense for me, but I want to have like a bigger size. And then I'm gonna say align to surface, yes, and then we can just paint some more. And you can see now the trees are a lot more spread out. So this is how you can create certain areas that you want to make look different, okay? And if you want to have like small plants, you can just plop them in front of it to just make this whole area look kind of already filled in. And we can make the size now very big, so to just have a very large area that we can cover with it. I'm like not very happy with this. Let's increase the intensity and make like a huge kind of forest behind. This is just so much more simple to enclose your area right away. Just paint a couple things here, and our main area is already settled. And look, we are gone from a green canvas looking like nothing in 10-ish minutes to have a very good plan of what we want to do. On the way here, we have learned how to move the camera, how to set up the lighting and stuff like that. Very simple things, but they will, trust me, they will help you so much in terms of what you want to do and where you want to go. Now, as this is a basic tutorial, the last bit we're needing to do is, usually I don't do this, but as this is a basic, you need to do the basic facilities, and they are the energy ones. So what we are going to do real quick is, we are going to utilize this area that I've set up to being our backstage area, is where I'm going to put a power generator first of all. This is going to be here, sitting here, and then next to it, I'm going to put a distributor really quickly. If it's gonna align to it, that would be nicely. There you go. We've got the distributor, and we're gonna connect this to our main station. You've seen the energy is already jumped to on. This is now our area of influence. We may actually need to put certain other things down here to our starting point, and I will actually do this. Therefore, I'm gonna select a multi-select tool, select both, and then I'm gonna copy them real quick. As soon as I've confirmed the grouping, I'm gonna hit Control D on my keyboard, and it's giving me the chance to basically do this. Now, we can actually go over here, and it's very hard to tell right now because of the heat map. I'm not sure if I can disable the heat map real quick. Yeah, there you can do this, and then changing the camera real quick to align that to the bottom. I'm gonna put this here to the side actually. Not sure if we need two power outputs though, but I'm gonna put this here. And now you can see it's not connected anymore, but you can just double click on one of these distributors, and then you can all the way connect this to this one. That would already be enough, but if we would need more energy, you can also connect this to the power supply. Oops, next to it. I should hit it to make sure it is working. There you go, now connected that. And the same we need to do for water as well. So we are going to zoom down here, double click on this thing, and then go and check out the menu for the facilities. And we're going to put down a water. There you go. And I'm also going to put down a water supply, but this time around, I'm actually going to say this is going to be somewhere around the pools. I think I'm going to put this one here to the back. And then I'm going to connect this to the main station. Here you go. And we can then change this along the way, but the basics are done. Because again, and as I said, in this game, you need these things to have. And now on the heat map, we can easily check where the water is and where the power is. And also the last thing is the water cleanliness. But as we do not have any pools right now, the cleanliness obviously doesn't appear. All right, so that's it for the basics. Because I think this is really what you need to know as like basic things to get the grips of the game. You know all the menus, you know where's what, you know how the scenery opens and so on. It is exactly the point where you need to start building. If you need further things for building and so on, you may either just keep on watching or you watch a different tutorial I've also uploaded. But the next step we're going to work with are the pathings. All right, so as said, we're going to start with the pathing, and this is going to be interesting because usually it was a mega tutorial in the first game. And frankly, this one is gonna be very quick. I'm not even sure if we need 10-ish minutes for that, but like this is insane. Before I go into pathing, I'm gonna explain to you this menu to the top here, because the menu has changed dramatically. Everything is gone from the old pathing. So if you're a Planet game player, you may not really recognize what's going on because there is just nothing as it was, but that's a good one. Now, you've got the pathing tools. It is divided in adding path. This is basically how you build it. Then you have a customize tab, which gives you the ability to change the textures, some of which come actually with a color change, which is great. Then we have path extras, which is also a pretty new thing. You can now also add path extras directly to your path. I'm going to quickly show that to you as the first thing, because basically I'm not sure if I will ever use it, but for casual players, that is super cool. You can even say on which side you want to put them. And you can also use the customized style for that. So maybe it's actually good to use it. And you can even use the style that you want to go for. So you can either change your style. I'm going to use the Planet Coaster bin and the Planet Coaster bench, so you can actually see that I've chosen those two. And then you can also add or not add rails, and you can use the delete brush, but we're going to talk about the delete brush as soon as we've built something. In order to build the path, the first option you have is the line builder, and the line builder does exactly what you expect it to be. And we're going to increase the width a little bit to, let's say, 5. And then we're going to build this around here. What I want to do is I want to have the angle snap turned on. And I'm just going to do this here. And I'm going to follow the path I have just set out myself here to build, so that we already use what I have set myself up to do. And then we're just going to drag it all the way around to here. So that's that. And you can see now with a certain spacing, we also have some benches put down, which is kind of cool. Now, if I go back to the extras and I'm saying I want to have the placement only to the alternating is also very nice, to be honest. And I also want to have, let's say, a different path style, because I want to have the mosaic or wooden. Then we go quickly jump to the customize brush, because that's explained pretty quickly. So this is why I'm going to use this first. And now you can just drag your mouse over what you've just built. And then you will magically see, boom, there you go. Obviously, the spacing hasn't been changed now, but you can get rid of it by saying, wait, hold on for a second. I think this is not working because I need to select the line builder first. Yeah, and then you can obviously say, I don't want to have this, or I do want to have this. And the next time you build the line tool, you can see you have the alternate spacing now. So apparently the brush doesn't work with the path extras. You have to choose them before. But the good bit is, as always, they should be selectable. Yes, there you go. And you can move them yourself if you're not happy with the placement. So you can easily grab these things. They are placed just as like with the scenery builder. So quickly have a selection of things. That is very nice. Now, back to the pathing. Now I closed the menu, and how the hell shall I go back to the menu? Now they have done something which I really love. You just need to double click on any given path, and then you're back in the menu. That is so good. Before we go through all the different features we have, let's quickly go through all the settings, because there are so many things that are important to understand. So first of all, you can select the line, straight or curve mode. You can also change this by holding down Alt, and then there are all the options in your circular menu. I still need to kind of understand where is what, but it's very interesting. So down here, you've got the curved splines, you've got angled connections, you've got intersect on or off, you've got rails on, you've got supports off, you've got path extras on or off, and you also have angle snap on or off and height on or off. It's so cool what you have over here. It's basically the same you see over here. Now, but there are a couple of other things. So line, style, curve, or straight, that's basically changed. This is now straight, and if I do change on the fly to the curve, you can see that I, why the heck? Oh wait, you just have to click once and then it curves. It's basically a point and click system. And then you have curved path like that actually work fine. Also, if you merge them with the other path, still as it was prior, you can use your Z key on the keyboard or your Y key, and it will then change from the as I can see, 90 degrees to a very nice angled intersection. So very nice as well. Right click will always disable what you're doing. Then you have the terrain style on automatic, which distinguishes if you want to build a tunnel or if you want to go up. So at the moment, as being in automatic, you will see, I'm just going to do this to the side over here. Holding down shift and going up will enable you to build like an upper ground one with supports on and off, and as you can tell. If you go below ground, and I do say the indication is a bit hard to tell, but as I build this now, you will see it builds automatically a tunnel coming out of the tunnel, going up here. And if you're just going not enough down, it'll create, as you can see, just like a bit of a terrain drip, I should say. That's it. And a fun bit, by the way, we're going to talk about that later, but you can also smooth the area around this now. So the terrain is editable around path now, which is a very, very cool addition to the game, and also makes pathing so much simpler. So back to pathing, you can see the line width you can select here with the slider. So the bigger it is, obviously the wider your path will get. You can also go to a fixed length if you want to. So if you want to distinguish which length your piece should have, you can do this. I'm not sure why you would have this. One of the most important things is the camera option. At the moment, I have the camera move freely, which is basically meaning nothing happens. But there are also other modes with camera follows and rotates. I personally don't like this. As you can see, the camera just jumps with you. Not a big fan of this, to be honest. I want to rotate as I wish to rotate. So I'm not really a big fan of having this type of control, but you can change it. The angle snap is something you do know, obviously, from the good old games. So you can change either between the different, angle snaps. I always like to use it to make it a bit more nice looking. But if you want to build completely free, you can turn it off. The length snap is also pretty much good, because it'll not allow, it does give you elements that always have the fixed length, but you don't want this apparently. So I just have that off. I don't know. Merge is a very important thing, because merge is new to the game. If you go for a different style, for example, usually if you have merge on, the game will overlay this over the existing one, just like so. This is now overlaying it. If you turn merge off, you will have it under the existing one. So this is how you gain control over making sure that you have the existing texture and not have all the textures fight with each other. Working height and height snap obviously is, as you can imagine, put this to, let's say, 4 meters. It'll be 4 meters above ground. And have the height snap, obviously will snap in these steps, because what you can easily do, and this is what we are going to just quickly do to show, I'm going to do first of all off. You can now build inclines like the best thing in the world. The only thing you need to do is hold down shift, move it up, and you can see the whole thing moves up. Apparently, having these benches on here generated helps you to distinguish how high you are. But the cool bit is, now as you have selected the height, you can now also select the overall pattern you want to do. And if you do it like this, you have this very nice gradual path leading up, and you know how much of a stress that was to create in the games before. What is also pretty cool is, if you do that again, and we are just starting off with a very slight one. There you go. And then we follow up, and we're going to go to 6 meters width now. You can still do this and go a tiny bit higher over here. Let's say like so. And it's automatically creating a bit of a wider path if you want this. So that's pretty damn cool. And the whole thing looks very, very nice indeed. So this is how you do incline path. And one last thing, if you want to create staircases, it's just important to have a very high altitude, like a very high height difference. You will see at some point it's too high, but if you go this one, it automatically creates stairs for you because the game understands that this is too high for like a gentle slope, and it's going to create these stairs for you. What is also pretty nice is the way paths do interact with each other. Now you have a automatic snapping. You can get rid of it again by holding down, or you should actually be able to get rid of it because of holding down control. It just doesn't do it over here. Usually it should, but holding down control doesn't do it over here. But building like a little area here that is higher, let's just raise it up ever so slightly. There you go. And we're just gonna build this, like, let's build this around this corner and have this still very much high up. Oops, there you go. Now connecting those two is relatively simple. You just do connect two areas, and the game automatically will tell you where it's possible or not. So if that works, okay, sometimes you do have little finicky things. Okay, it seems like the game wants to just showcase its inability just for the sake of doing it. I rarely had these issues, so well, let's showcase. Okay, at the end of the day, it'll work just fine. Okay, maybe I just have found the one bug now. Let's do it on this side, and it's gonna show you how simple it works. There you go. You just have that simple connect. Let's try that one more time. Yeah, now it works. Okay, and you can even fix these areas really quickly, but we are going to show this in a second. This will be just our testing ground. Now, double click again on here. The next is the classic path. So if you still like to build like it was basically working in the old game, you can do so. Even though it just doesn't feel like it anymore, there is not a align to grid option or anything. So it just doesn't do anything particularly nice, and I would recommend to not use it anymore, because the third one is the one that's the biggest fun. This is the draw tool, and if we want to build our helipad over here, this is the one we're going to choose. So let's use the asphalt path over here and also get rid of everything else. Okay, so in this mode, you can't even use the path extras. But now we are just going to paint our area that we want to have as the helipad. So this is exactly the area we want. And whoop, what the heck? What the heck? I'm gonna uncover certain things I've never seen in here. Okay, well, this is a live tutorial. I'm not going to perfect that. We're going to fix it on the fly. Because like on a helipad you fly, you know? Okay, so I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna bring this over here. There you go. Now this is awesome. So you can see this is the grand area, and now the last bit we need to do is we need to connect these areas here real quick, like so. And what we do need, because this is now part of the game, we need a spawner, and they still exist. So if we go, for example, over here in the entrances section, you can see there is a new park entrance. I think they kind of changed the naming from spawner to entrance, but the cool bit about these is you can now place them anywhere, and you can also make them snap in here. This is exactly where I want to put this. So now we have the spawner in this little location, and they will be able to spawn into our region. So just to show you another technique, because we are done with the draw tool. Oh, by the way, just like as one more thing, you can also do curves obviously over here. And if you, for example, want to build like a little round area, I'm going to quickly show you is you just basically build this like so, and then you can drag this around and around and around, and boom, there you got a round little area. Super cute, super nice. You can super easily connect everything if you want to, like so, and then just keep that going like this. And that's a weird shape, but yeah, you can just add things to each other. It is so simple, and you can also use all the different settings as always. But there's also a stamp builder, and the stamp builder is also pretty useful if you want to quickly draw huge areas, which I want to do with the entrance over here. And you can also get rid of the rotation snap. If you want to have full control, you can go into a very big 3 meter, or like actually 3x4, it should be 12 meter-ish thing. And then you can also put this below facilities, which is so cool. So what we're going to do, and then the grid appears, we're just going to build this. Very simple. Now you can obviously now go to a smaller one, and it will still snap to the edge, which is kind of nice. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to snap to this edge, and I'm going to build a bit of a smaller part over here. And I'm going to do this one more time. And you can see this is a little bit weird because we seem to have built this in the air for whatever reason. But that's not too dramatic actually, because what we can easily do is we can easily get rid of it. And this is where the delete tool comes into play. I'm just going to quickly show this to you over here. Now, once this is done, very simple, you can either use a stamp delete tool, which I like a lot because it will actually just cut out the corners exactly like you do. This is becoming very handy for people who want to make like planters in the center, for example. Say you want to have a planter here, you're just going to go and boom. Because if you use the delete brush tool, you'll see it's not able, you're not able to do exactly this. You want to need to delete the whole area, and this is what it does then. Sometimes you can click another one, but you can't really go in like this, you know, have like a corner cut off like this, like almost bite a part of it off of it. It's so cool. And I feel like this is longer because you've got so many options. I thought it's going to be a short section of this tutorial, but oh my god, you can do so much with the pass. This is why this is so much. Also, there's a rounding tool. I'm going to quickly go into this one before we fix this area, and you can just basically do what we have done with the smoothing trick in the last game. You can do this now with this tool. You basically brush over the edges and you will see this indication what the game will do with it, and you can see I have a very high strength over here. So if I reduce the strengths, you can see it basically doesn't do anything. If I go to 2, for example, it sometimes doesn't even smooth the edges because it just feels like, okay, it's not enough. So it brings up to 5. Yeah, you've seen that. It just does smooth it a little less. And this way you can also smooth these inner corners very nicely, and then also create like a bit more of a rounded area for that if you want to. That was a very odd one. Not sure if it will leverage. It just does funky things. It still works the same way as it does in the previous game. You can't really understand how exactly it works, but it's kind of fun that it does work. So, all right, now I said I want to get rid of all of this. You can obviously use the brush and make it super big and then just get rid of whatever you have in your way. And then we are going to use the draw tool because we want to build this. Actually, we can also use the stamp builder again and show this to you that it actually works. And you just hit shift again so that it is actually attached to the ground. And then I'm gonna see that I have a good angle here. That is a fine angle. Here goes that. Right, and in order to just make things a little bit quicker, we are going to just quickly build the area now, just to make sure that it doesn't take an age. I'm just going to prop this in, and then you can see now once you're up to grips, it all works so super well. I just want to have like a curve over here, and then just bring in this over to the other side. Let's see that I get in here nicely. There you go, and then just making sure that, yeah, let's grab that, my friend, and then go just straight and crossing that over. Yeah, I'm gonna kind of solve these little things by having this smaller. There you go. Just do it. Oh, come on. Yeah, sometimes these just don't respond as you want to, as you can see over here. And this is usually where I use this draw tool again. And then I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna pretend it never happened. I'm just gonna paint over it like so. There you go, fixed it. And then you can do basically the same on the other side if you want to do this, which I do want to do right now. Oh, by the way, if you want to have full control over this, sometimes you have the snapping over here, but if you hold down control, you can grab it and put it wherever you want. And the last tool you have, we have not talked about, is the edit tool. Once you have the edit tool, you can just search for these edges that do not really work as you wanted them to, and then you can just fix them yourself by just clicking in here, for example, and then just dragging that slightly in, and then it does fix all the issues. Or if you say, you know what, this path actually is way too wide for me, I want to have it more narrow, well, hold on, the game is able to make it more narrow. Just choose that and make a narrow path. There you go. And yes, that does work. And you can also just do the same over here again, and then just bring that closer to each other. It's not like infinitely small, but it's actually very small, up to the point where it will break, as you can see. But I'm gonna get rid of it like so, and then also smoothing out this edge a little bit nicer. Well, I think I'm never gonna use this tool because it just is so funky. I really don't know why I can't use the draw tool and use this to cut things off. That would be lovely, to just invert that tool would be good. But sometimes you just need to use the delete tool, and then you can cut these corners a bit nicer. And potentially now the edge paint does help us a little more. Okay, they don't. Well, to the top they did. Whatever, gonna leave it as is. It doesn't look that fancy. And now we're just going to paint these pathways real quick. Just show you how I would do this. Anyways, I'm gonna go here and make them super wide. And then which style do we have? Yeah, let's go with these. And then we're just going to go to curve mode. Well, actually I can do this here, right? Yeah, so let's just have the curve go through here as well. So there we go. Whoops. Like, hello? Why am I not able to plop this down? There you go. All right, so this has been done, and now I'm just going to start the whole thing from over. Why the heck are you not doing what I want to do? There you go. Just drawing that all the way out here. And to over here. Funky. And now let's just connect those two. Since I've merged this, now we want to create a huge plaza out of this. I want to use the draw tool for that. And the draw tool is in the curve mode, so I'm just going to try to align this nicely. And then sometimes it's very simple to just go to the straight line over here and just bring that all until you are happy with it, and then go back to the curve mode. Sometimes you have to build like a small piece straight, and then you'll be able to. Okay, well, that was stupid. Sometimes you just shouldn't release your key like I have. That is stupid. So I'm just gonna go back to the line builder and build this to this side. And then let's go back to the curve. Just gonna do this a bit different here. And then I think that looks fancy. And then we're just gonna go around here. And at this point, I'm gonna go back to the straight line and bring this down here. Awesome. And as we didn't have merge activated, you can see it just does this. You could also then get rid of these things. You can see now we've got railing everywhere, which I don't want to. So let's say railing off and use our cosmetics. Well, we don't need them. Customize brush, make that one bigger. And now you can see we can just easily get rid of the railings around here. And if you want to get rid of these benches, you can also do this with the delete, demolish tool, deselect, and then you go also to path or pool extras. That's the only thing you want to delete, and now get rid of them on the plaza if they are a little bit of a problem with you. And also here, you don't want to have this corner, then you go back to the delete tool. Now use the stamp tool, make it the biggest available, wait until it snaps, and then you just click this away. Really, really simple. Last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can smooth these corners out nicely to me. I can't really do this. So let's see if I can just find a good edge here. Nope, it just sometimes just doesn't do what you want to. The old method was easier, but as you do have the draw tool now, it really doesn't matter at all. You can just now use this thing to make things look so freaking awesome anyways. So I'm just going to quickly do this, and here you go. I mean, this is actually pretty nice. You could even make like a little planter in front of it. But that shall be it about pathing. And as you can tell, even though there are still a couple of hiccups here and there, it is just so much better in this game. You can do so many things. You can paint over things. Oh, and by the way, the last thing I forgot, but basically they work the exact same way, but we'll have them during the coaster build again. There obviously is building queues, and you don't have all the options for queues, but you can just build it like the classic line builder you've seen. It always will stay the same width actually, but there are ways of changing this, which I'm going to show you. So expect this to be the same method as building path, and now you can go to curved splines as well if you want to have like a curved path over there. So this is that, and queues can obviously also have no railings or whatsoever. But the good bit about queues is, and this is a bit of an interesting one, you can either have a customized brush and then you've got different elements. The problem is they all have the logo on it, which I really don't know why this is, but hey. And then what you can do, you can go back to the normal mode and use the edit tool. This is a bit weird why that works, but it just works, and so you can obviously use that and make your queues wider. Well, that was a bit too wide, I guess. So here you go. Sometimes it does weird things, but for the most part, I had a very good experience. You can also drag out individual things, as you can see. And then, well, if you want to have like another one, you just go in and click the delete, the edit tool here. There you go. This little point over here is going to be dragged out, and then There you go. So it's a bit of a trial and error until you get it. I think maybe they will make this a bit more easy with some tools, but for the first moment, this is brilliant. This is absolutely brilliant. And for the staff path, you have all the options again, just that the customize option is just one path that I think it doesn't have the logo on it. So as we want to have a staff area over here anyways, let's quickly draw a little staff plaza here. There you go, just make that. I really like this texture, by the way. And then you can also have the stamp go here. And it just easily creates this intersection, which, this is just so good. And then you can also say, okay, I want to have this tool for building a straight line, like here. You could easily do this too. So that is pretty damn good. So this is how it works, and let's just zoom in. No, this time around, it doesn't have a logo on it. It's so odd that exactly this one has a logo. The only little caveat is you can't get rid of the curbs as of now. The game just doesn't allow to get rid of the curbs. Maybe this is the one thing we need to deal with, but since you can build so many things, you can literally just make things go underneath your scenery once you need to. You can also use your scenery brush, and then have, for example, this, and then you can also say avoid paths on, but sometimes as they get closer, they will still overlay it. Okay, in this time not, but you can just simply do it like so, and then the edge is gone. However, this is all you need to know about pathing. You will be now very much suited for pathing. Everything I've shown you works also on console. Everything I've shown you works on raised path as well, and everything I've shown you will work with the different variants of path, like queues and staff path and so on. Very good, and we are going on to the next part of our tutorial. Right, next up in our tutorial is going to be the landscaping. Now, this is a very important bit because as of now, everything looks very flat, you know, not really interesting. And in order to make it interesting, we are going to make a little hill over here for our coaster. We make a little dip, so to say, a lowered area for the track ride we're going to put here later on. And we're going to make a little harsh hill to decide where the slide is going to come from. Now, in order to make landscaping, you can either go down here to the terrain menu or just double click on the ground, which is like deadly simple. And well, they're just like the typical kind of tools you can imagine. We've got pull, and unfortunately the keys on your keyboard, the old short keys don't work anymore, so you really have to go in here and switch with the alt key between the different things, as you can see over here. But if I go to pull, I can still increase the size and the intensity, obviously, and now I'm gonna go for the biggest and the highest intensity, and so you will see we are just raising the area for the coaster. Now, as I said, I want to have this a bit more interesting looking, so what we're going to do is we're just going to kind of do a little hill here. If you want to get a bit more structure in, a good tip as always is, first of all, let's kind of smooth it out first of all a little. So the smooth tool, as you can see over here to the left hand side, smooth basically levels out the harsh edges of what you've just built. As you can see, this easily works like this, you know, and just for making all the tools work, the push tool pushes inwards, as you can imagine. Smoothing that out again will... Oop, there was my hard drive full again. Damn, all these videos. Now, it levels kind of out what you do down here when you pull it down. And there are a couple of other tools I'm going to quickly show you. So the roughen tool gives you a bit of the same thing I did here, just automatically. But I feel it's a little bit too aggressive. As you can see, it kind of roughens your mountain. So if you are going to lower down the intensity and you're just using that carefully, as you can see over here, you can really give the whole mountain a nice realistic shape. So it gives you a bit of a speedy option, you know. Everything in this game is a lot more now opted for making speedy appearance to stuff, you know, being very much more quicker, which makes sense with a console game in mind. So this way you can roughen this mountain out relatively quickly. And if you want to do some precise work, you can either go for the flatten to foundation. So let's say you want to have like, let's say we want to have like a launch or something very straight here. We can just flatten a terrace out like this over here. So this is perfectly flat now. In case you want to put something on this, we do have like this perfectly flat ground over here, which I think I want to keep because this might be a good station to put on and then just build the coaster from here. And then you also have the flatten to surface. This works a little bit more different. So if you want to have like a ramp, let's say, you can find a spot where you like this, and then you can just kind of align this here, as you can see, and then drag it all down and it just kind of creates a ramp on exactly this way. By the way, I haven't talked about this yet. By pressing Control Z and Control Y, you do the redo and undo. You can also use them down here in the menu, by the way. As you can see, it also tells you the hotkey. By the way, this is a kind of cool feature that the hotkeys are immediately next to it, which is a bit odd that not everything has a hotkey, but you know, at least it works. So this way, you have a very nice little area here. In order to go further, we're gonna lower this area real quick down. So just a little tip over here while we go higher intensity. Not that much. We lower this down a little, just like, well, this might be fine. And then we're gonna flatten this mostly to the foundation, because I want to have like a very nice area down here, which hopefully looks nice, like this. And then you've got two methods to kind of smooth out the edges. Either you go obviously with the smooth tool, make it bigger, and then just kind of level that out. But this can actually be tedious if you don't want to. You can also just kind of flatten to the surface and then just kind of create a bit of a nicer area like this, and then you smooth this out. Mostly that gives you some nicer results in some more varying things. But you can also use, this is where I like the roughen tool to use for, and go very, very low with the intensity, and then you can just roughen the edges a little bit, so it doesn't seem like a way to kind of a natural, like non-natural, like man-made crater, I should say. It still looks like a little bit of a crater, and if you want to do it a bit different, you go to flatten to foundation, lower the size. You can also go and lower the hardness now, which is a new feature. So the hardness will also, it almost is like, in case you know Photoshop, there's also the mode for hardness, and it kind of smooths out the mouse movement, so it's not all so super hard. You can really nicely now pull things together. As you may have seen, we spared out one function over here, the chisel function, which I'm gonna show you in a second, while I'm just going to click a couple things. Here you can see, nicely done. It gives the whole area already so much more character if you look at that. So that's pretty damn cool. And now what we're going to do, we're going to make a very harsh mountain over here. So therefore, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this up very, very, very straight like this. And then what I'm doing is, now this is very tall, and what I'm doing from over here is I'm going to reduce the size very low. Let's start with 6, and then we go and reduce this to what, 90 is okay. And then you just drag it down, and you create these almost like, I want to say roots, but it's almost like futures or eruption lines. I'm not even sure how you would call them, but I really like to do this to give the mountain a certain shape, a certain character. And you gotta be a bit careful. Sometimes your cursor will just kind of eventually go away and just roughen around the area too. As you can see here, it just kind of snapped away when you press for too long. But I still like the way how this kind of creates these areas. So once you've done this, you can then, if you say like that is looking way too round to the top, you can use the chisel tool. And now what you can do with this is basically like if you work with clay and you have like a very sharp chisel, basically, you can just push that one to create, you know, certain edges like here. So you use that for like, for example, like this, or just kind of shape something in here if you want to kind of get an edge in and then just chisel that out. So you can really work like with clay with it, just form the things to your liking. And again, all the different settings apply to you as well. There's also a scenery lock. I don't need to show this to you because it's basically self-explanatory. When you've got scenery around, basically what it does is that the whole landscaping doesn't function around scenery. Now, one last thing I wanted to show you, and I debated with myself if I wanted to do this in the past tutorial or in this one, but however, I'm going to do this in this tutorial because I feel like it's almost the better variant to do. Now, wouldn't it be nice to have already like a path axis that goes all the way up here, but we want to have like some very cool like you know, terrain around this. So therefore I'm gonna basically build a queue, and we're gonna start the queue up here. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring the queue up to this point, and now what we want to do, we want to bring the queue all the way down in a very nice manner, and then down here it shall be going to the ground. So this is where we go, and we reach the ground, as you can see. But I don't want to have this, you know, I don't want to have this. I want to have this flat on the ground, almost like seemingly flat on the ground. So what I can do is I can use my push tool, and I'm gonna lower the intensity but increase the size, and now I can just easily push it towards our path, as you can see.
So you just work your way up here. There you can see. The game finally doesn't feel like this is bad anymore. So we have that this way. And in order to just make that nice, you can just go use the smooth tool, raise the intensity to the highest, and then just smooth everything around the path like out. And here we go. We have like a perfectly flat path on the terrain. Like as if nothing has ever happened. It is so freaking easy. And the same goes over here. And then we're just gonna smooth that out real quick. You know, sometimes you have these little edges if you want to, but then you can also reduce the intensity to the very lowest. Or like it's not even the lowest, but as you can see, it's like super low now. And then you can be very precise even in adjusting that to the path. And easily, you've just done that. I mean, how cool is this place? That is just amazing to see how easy this works now. I need to have a little sip of my tea, by the way. Talking for so long is kind of making the voice go away. And you know, these tutorials are really meant to follow along nicely. They are not too fast cut. I will eventually make some very short tutorials for like the TikTok audience in the world. But there's one last thing I want to do about the terrain, and this is water. Because obviously it's not only about making mountains, we can also make lakes. And real quick, this is just like super easy to understand. I'm just gonna increase this over here. We're going to turn this area here into a little lake. So I'm just gonna lower this down, use this foundation, like flatten to foundation tool again. Sometimes what you can do is if you go for a higher size, go for an intensity somewhere between 40 and 70. I like to have it somewhere in the 60s. And then you can just quickly click and drag it out, but release the mouse button real quick again. And then you already create these lovely edges from like how you would have them in a lake. So if you press too hard, it's gonna work like this. You know, you don't want that. If you just click press, you can see how I'm just dragging the terrain away. And the good thing about this is it creates these natural borders, because how the water works is we go into the water tap, and the water works by searching for the line outside here. So it is the same as in both previous Planet games. However, as in Planet Coaster 1, you could still edit some stuff around. Now it is also blocked just as in Planet Zoo, so you can't edit the water anymore as soon as it's in. I'm just gonna click this in real quick. We cannot edit the terrain around anymore. So in case you wanted to push something in, this happens over here just as in Planet Zoo. So in Planet Coaster, you could still edit this. So you have to make the shape work before you're done. The color this time around is very nice. The deeper you go, it becomes darker, but still you have some light casting through. Again, we have 3 different variants. We've got the clear water, we've got the rough water, which I'm gonna quickly put in. This looks a lot more like tropical sea over here. And then we also have the it's called natural water. I would call it dirty water. It's a little bit of an odd one. You can't click on it and change the color as in Zoo. Really hope they bring that in later on. That would be lovely. But as for now, I'm gonna go with the rough water because I just like the yeah, I like the color of it the most, to be honest. It just, I don't know, it fits this area nicely, I think. All right, let's just actually quickly, no, let's change this back to the clear water because yeah, I don't want to have like this rough water over here. And last but not least, obviously what we need to have is like a little kind of pool area around here, or like a beach area, as this would fit to our overall swimming pool style. You can, as always, change the terrain paint. So basically just paint around here and you're gonna get yourself a beach. Now, what is really cool in this game is we have almost double the amount, or we do have double the amount of textures, which is kind of cool. We have, as you can see, 6 by 6 over here, 12 plus 3 more, which is super great to have. And you can also just change easily between them. Now, if you lower down the intensity, and you can just see how nicely it blends. So if you want to have like very full sand over here, as I want to, you just paint that very heavily. But if you want to see, okay, this is now going to go into patchy grass, you can just do it like this. Or if this is too harsh for you, you just lower down the size, you lower down the hardness, and you lower down the intensity a lot more. And now you can see you can have much more control over the blend of the textures. And I personally found this to be one of the best new additions to the game. Specifically in Planet Zoo, it was already a step ahead, like really good. But now in Planet Coaster 2, the merge of the textures. Look at that. It just you can create so nice looking areas that you didn't have before by just mixing together a bunch of textures and then just having, yeah, we should even go lower with the intensity here. And then you can see how this creates like a very natural environment here that you can mix together, like put a bit of soil in and then just plant some plants around here. Look at that. It's just, you can do so much with it. I really like that. You could like put a swamp over here. But yeah, that looks fantastic, doesn't it? I really love how this all works, and I really would love to also, that is the one I wanted to go, make this beach over here a lot more hard, you know, just make sure that we have this all covered in beach look. This is like the only proper beach we have. We can even style that after a beach later on, and then have a bit of soil merge here as well, emerge from maybe this area where you can have some more soil in, just like almost into there where we will have the coaster go. And then this is pretty nice, and you could have like a bit of pebbles here very close to the pathway would make sense. So just like that. And if we go a little closer now, you can see this is very nice. If a couple of pebbles go in here, yeah, that looks fantastic. And the beach itself doesn't look too good because, you know, it's all very much too flat. You would need to go in, and also a little trick, you know, as we are in a tutorial here, you have the trick. Go very low on the size, like maybe 4 or 3, and then also go low on the intensity, to be honest. And then you can just, whoops, I need to go. Oh, wait, this is a feature I forgot almost to say. There are the painting tools can either auto paint or use selected or the sampled. Now, when you go sampled, it'll always use the one you're clicking on and dragging from. When you go to auto paint, it will auto paint from the map's default. So as you can see on the sides over here in the back, there is going to be rock, and on the straight there will be this kind of grass, and then underwater you will have certain things. But if you go to use selected, it'll use the one that you have selected in here. So in my case, I'm gonna put on sand now, and then it'll basically keep this texture to sand. But what I'm doing over here, and you'll see that in a second, I hope that's visible, but you can really nicely do this way. And now let's see if we can spot this. Yeah, I just ever so slightly created a little bit of difference over here. Let's kind of adjust the light real quick so you guys can see this better. There you, oh my god, that's much more visible. Look at that. This is how it looks now. The beach looks a lot more realistic before, and sometimes it can really help to use the different sun conditions to see something. As you can see, this is how it looked before, and now I'm just gonna redo it, and you can see this gives the whole beach a lot more realism, a lot more depth, and just makes sense that, you know, you have a bit of a nicer view to it. Again, sometimes changing the light conditions will do the trick. And yeah, maybe we stick to, again, 1 p.m. Now, this has been it about the terraforming. I really hope you guys enjoyed this, because that's a good one, and we obviously continue with our big tutorial. Next up on the list is going to be the facilities. Let's continue here in our little mega tutorial with the facilities. And I'm going to first of all talk you through the types of facilities. So in this tutorial part, we are going to talk about the buildings, and later on we are going to talk about the staff members and so on. That's always a very important difference, and both of them require a certain tutorial for them. So we are going to focus on the facilities themselves. You can see we've got different categories, but I find like the categories are not the best. I would divide it into 3 categories, and that is guest, park management, and staff members. That's the easiest to go, because the guests have like a lot of counters. You can see if we go to, for example, guests, we also have like we have a body dryer, we have got the changing rooms, we've got a guest service counter, we've got gift service shop, and we've got the toilet. Now, as we will need a couple of those things, and we want to have something here in the center, I will first of all bring in a couple of things here to the main area. The cool bit is now you can slap this onto the ground easily now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some changing rooms here and here. The good thing is we're going to talk about building later, so I don't need to focus on making them look nice now. And what we can do else is we can obviously also have some shop counters, and now as they are completely fully on here, you can put them wherever you want, so that's kind of cool. But you can also, if you want to, obviously use that good old block, as you can see, and then align this with your favorite building if you want to. So I'm going to group this in here, and then basically what we can do is having this here, and here. So we've got these two guest info buildings on both sides. And then if we want to get very creative, we could have this one as like an intro counter if we want to. So in fact, I want to actually do this. We can't really align this to anything, but we can bring this shop counter here in the center somehow. I feel like that's kind of a cool idea. So then they do snap to each other, which is kind of funny. And we will also snap something against this because we can also, and this is kind of cool, the gift shops also come with counters. So what we're going to do is we have the Hats Fantastic, we have the Just a Momento, we have the Looney Balloons, and we also have the Splash Emporium. This is what we're going to put next to this one. And we're also going to have this on the other side. So it's kind of funny that they do snap to the other side, so you know exactly the distance. And we do the same here with the Hats Fantastic, I believe it was. Oh no, Looney Balloons. Gonna keep it this way, and we also will put the other things to the other sides. And one important one we are going to do is water. Hold on, so Gulpy Soda, this is the Latte Love, the Slush Hour counter. Where's the normal water? Pipshot Juice and the Soda Lightful counter. There you go. This is just some soda. This is the wrong way around. I'm gonna put this way. I'm just figuring that this one is also the wrong way around. So let's just rotate this thing as well. So here we go. We've put down these facilities, but we also have already put down energy. So let's have a look on our heat map if everything is good in terms of energy. Yes, they are within the reach, so that's perfectly fine. In case you don't know how this works, this is the next part of the facilities. This is the park infrastructure, as I would call it. If we go back into the facilities, you can see we have energy and utilities, and we also have the entrances. I would put them both into this category, to be honest, because they both are part of the infrastructure of your park. So while we have 3 different types of spawn points now, we do have the park entrance, and we also have the park entrance dressed as a coach and dressed as a ship. Both basically act exactly the same way as the spawner. And then we have a very important building, because without this, people will not actually get into your park. And this is the actual entrance building. That has been the same in the first games as well. So what you gotta do is you gotta put the entrance somewhere, and I'm gonna put the entrance right here. And you can also just like click them next to each other and they will be able to go there. I aligned that now with the ground, and don't worry, you can like easily paint the ground again afterwards. Just grab yourself the existing texture, and then you basically use the paint tool and just brush over it, and there you go. Well, actually I should have been more careful. Here you go. Now this is done. And you can see that this building now has a proper entrance to the park. We have these facilities. The only thing missing is the staff. And we have said that the staff goes over here because they have to work here. What we will eventually also need, we have no food. So this is what we're going to put down first before we go into the staff facilities. We are going to put some food down as well. And I'm going to put like a higher sushi counter somewhere because I want to make like a little stand, you know, something to copy around later on. So I'm going to put like a sushi here and another, what is that, hot dog squad here. And then we can also put one more drink shop available. So that shall do the trick. And oh, by the way, yeah, obviously we've got vending machines, and it's also kind of funny. You can see where the energy goes. In here we have energy, so I'm going to put them here, and not only by this one, putting them in and also putting that one in. So they have some drinks, and we're going to put obviously another counter in as well. Let's see where we want to have this. I think here by the beach is kind of nice. So we built some little huts that we copy around to these things. Like very proper, simple builds will be covering these things. This is going to be like a proper big building. And now we have covered the park infrastructure and the guest buildings. Now let's have a look at the last thing, and that is the staff buildings. And that you don't go to staff, you actually go to facilities. Click on the staff building tag, and you can see there are 3 different types of buildings. Actually, it's 2 different types only. We've got the mechanic workshop. This is for research purposes. You can basically drop them anywhere. We're gonna put this here. And then we do also have the staff building large. We have got the staff building medium, and now a new one that you may not know from Planet Zoo is the staff building small. So that one comes only with a footprint of 1 4x4 by 4. So putting that down, we have basically put down all the staff buildings we have in here. And mostly this is it already to the facilities. Just for completion reasons, we are going to go into the energy real quick, because I've done this in the building basics as well, because, you know, in this game, as energy is a basic, I had to put them down. But just to make this part of the tutorial, in case you skipped here or you're watching the individual video, to have this as well. Now, looking at this, we are going to go into the energy tab, and there are a couple of things you notice. We've got 4 different types of things. We've got the connector cables and the pipes. We've got deletion tools, because frankly it doesn't actually work other way around, so you need to actively delete them. Then we have a power distributor, and we have a water filter. Both of them act basically as the same. They are connected to the main source, either the source of energy or the source of water. What's kind of interesting though is that I don't seem to have the solar panels in yet, which definitely are in game. So I'm a bit confused to why they're not in this list, and if I don't have them researched or whatnot. I think this is because I am playing on a challenge mode stuff, and you could research them later on. This may well be the reason. But yeah, so the power generator does the trick, but you also have some other options to generate power. And then you have this thing, plop it down, it generates power, and you need to actively connect this to the distributor, and you just double click on that. So it gives you the connection tool, just connect that over here, and now the power is in, and you now can see that we have 298 power available, and you can see the current distribution is 95, and we have the structure requirements fully done by this. So easy peasy. The same goes about water. Double click on that one, and now you can drag that to any kind of water pump you have around your park. There are also like water towers and water water, what's it called, wells, underground wells that you can place down, and they will sort of give you water at the point where you're placing them right away, so you don't have to just move anywhere else. It's kind of a different water source, just as the solar panels would be. So yeah, that's that about facilities, and it's now time to move over to the next topic. Well, I just figured that I can enable the research tree, and just for the completion reasons of this last element, we're going to plop down all the facilities that we currently have available. So you've got a double solar panel, you've got an individual solar panel. I'm gonna put this in the back here just because why not? Then we do have, as I said, the underground well, which you can basically put anywhere you want. I'm gonna put this here, and again, this acts as a water source. As you can see, it doesn't create like a round. And then you can also have a water tower. They all require energy, so what you will need is to connect that to the energy, I believe it was. So if you put that down here, you can see that one needs to be connected to a water source as well. So here goes that. And I'm wondering if we don't have enough energy, but we can fix that by obviously double clicking on these ones and then putting this all on power. Everything should be fine now, or this is just for whatever reason not working. So you can connect all these things together. And I'm not even sure if this just needs another distributor, which I think it does because it's exactly in between. So what we're going to do is we're going to build real quick another distributor, as you can see over here, the power distributor, and we're gonna put this right next to this building and connect this to here, and now you can see it's fully powered. So apparently it needs to be fully covered now, while in Planet Zoo it was enough if it just touched the border of the area of influence, but that's good to know. Right, so we've built all the facilities that we needed, and hopefully that was helpful for the moment. We need to continue now with the next topic, so let's go.
Right, next up we are going to look at buildings. Now, we have already set the scene that we are going to continue to build with. This is the scene we've set with a couple of facility buildings and the entrance itself. So the only thing I'm seeing is that these buildings, unfortunately, are not really nicely aligned to the rest. So we are going to do this, and this is already step 1 for the building basics, understanding the controls. Now, unfortunately, multi-select, how it was in the old games, doesn't work anymore. So holding down shift and selecting doesn't work. So you have to, first of all, bring up the multi-select tool, and you can either do this by holding down the Alt key or bringing up the radial menu, and then you select the multi-select tool. Or if you want to be quicker on your computer, you can press the I key, and then this menu opens as well. Now what you're going to do then is you basically either you go over and then you have a multi-selection. Path is actually connected as well, but if you confirm the selection, it'll only take the facilities. I'm gonna click them individually now, as you can see, because that's the group anyways, but I also want to have these ones included as well. So I'm gonna confirm the selection, and now you will see I can actually move them on the ground here myself, and I'm gonna bring them down here so I see them very nicely aligned with this. Like, it doesn't have to be like 100% fine, you know, but just as fine as it can go. So I think this is good over here, and we may actually also center it with the entrance gates, and let's push that a little bit back as well, because I don't want to go into trouble with like congestion, which we will have anyways, but whatever. Place them down, and you can see there's a little bit of an issue here with the pathing. We're going to solve this really quick, because, you know, that's an easy fix now with the new game. Going to use the draw tool, and then I'm gonna quickly just keep on doing this. By holding down control, by the way, you can freely move this in case you ever experience a little issue in that. You can just do this and boom, fix it. So easy as it goes. Now, a couple of things that changed is the way how building does work. So if you have been here in Planet Coaster or Planet Zoo, you are very familiar with the menus, but for those of you who are not, we have a scenery menu in which you'll find a lot of building stuff. However, once you open that, you will always, first of all, be greeted with blueprints. As blueprints are a part of building, I'm going to show you real quick. I'm going to use one of my containers here as a, oops, that's the wrong one. I wanted to show you another one. Let's type in, you can always search for the blueprints. Type in container, there is my container. And now you can also add that to certain groups. However, there was one thing I found out which is very interesting. When you are in the camera mode that I prefer, and this is the camera mode of rotating around your own center, it will not allow you. You have to switch over to the camera mode that centers around the focus point in the center of your screen. Once you move then your stuff towards a group and you hover over the group, you will say it does attach to the scenery group 6. If you click on that, it's now inside of the group and you can enter this building to the group. We don't want that here, so we press right click to exit again or escape, it doesn't matter. You can escape or right click to exit menus. It'll take a time, you need to click a couple of times, that's normal, it's nothing specific. But if you want to build yourself, you go and first of all you basically click on create custom. That'll bring you into the menu, and I'm gonna quickly explain this menu. It's not really that dramatic as in Zoo, because in Zoo you also had like scenery, facilities, and nature, which were 3 separate menus for separate pieces. This time around, the facilities really are only facilities. There is no building piece in here, so all the building pieces will be in scenery. You can see already on screen that the pieces have a different background, and the background is either flat white, as you can see here with the acacia tree, or it has this kind of grid pattern in the background. And this is exactly already the, you know, explanation. A grid piece will only be available to rotate around 90 degrees on a fixed grid. I'm gonna show you real quick. I'm gonna take this aged roof that we are also using. So if you are adding this to the group, again, you have to wait for the add to scenery group. A grid piece will automatically align to the way the grid is. So it doesn't matter at which angle you're attaching it. I'm just gonna quickly show you again. Let's grab that again and just rotate. Also, we're going to use another one because I want to have this roof anyways. We're gonna turn that around completely so you can see how that actually works. And now you want to have this aligned properly with this border over here. You just click and then here we go. Very easy squeezy. That's easy how it goes. You can place the roof, and this is how you build a roof. You can then also have like a straight one in the center. You can make use of the grid, and the grid can obviously be changed in size. You can lower the size down to 1 meter steps, and you can lower the grid height down to 1/4 of a meter height steps. That means each time you hold down shift and you raise your piece, it'll go a square meter up or down, or like 25 centimeters, whatever you want to say. This is how the grid works, okay? But there are also non-gridded pieces. For example, like this air conditioning unit over here. It has no grid, and if you move that around, you can see it is basically maintaining its axis. However, what you can do is you can attach that to a building, and then it will make sure to be on the right rotation, as you can see. There are some elements here in the right menu we're going to quickly go through. We have a scaling option now that is pretty new. So that means if you go to the scaling menu, you can scale your air conditioning unit.
Different items have different scaling options. The further you go up or down, they will scale a little bit differently accordingly, but this is normally from 50 to 300% is how it scales. And you can do this with every piece that is not a grid piece, except one. I found an anchor or kind of a hook that is not scalable, but I think it's just a bug and will potentially be fixed. Now, I'm going to quickly show you also. Now, what I'm using at the moment is the normal building menu. You can move your thing around with the cursor. If you hold down shift, you can raise or lower your piece. And if you just one click shift, you will always align that back to a surface. You know, if I raise it, it's going to stay to my cursor. It's going to flow in this height. But if I want to have it back on a surface, I'm just going to hover over the first surface and then I shift click once, and it automatically goes down to the surface where your cursor is. Now, you can also rotate this piece by holding down your Z or Y key, depending on which keyboard you have, and it's going to rotate around the center of the piece, as you can see over here. But you can also do this with an advanced mode, and this is where you hit X on your keyboard if you're on a computer, or you go with the rotational menu over here. You can also go into the advanced move. For the console players, you can easily do this, and then this will bring up this so-called gizmo. The gizmo is a wonderful tool that lets you manipulate your pieces like in a 3D tool. You can move them up or down very precisely. You can move them side by side, and you can also change through and go into a rotation mode that you can easily rotate that in every single axis you want to. And then obviously you also have access to the scaling tool, which works, by the way. I thought first of all it was also with the rotating, but no, you just hold on the side and you drag it to left or right to scale. It's a little bit more easy than I thought it was. So once you've done that, you confirm your placement by basically clicking anywhere on screen. You place that. If you're not happy with the placement, you can always redo or undo, which is Control Y or Control Z on your keyboard, and then this manipulation has gone. Now, if you put this back on, you can also if you do not want that this piece is aligning to the surface over here, you can press V on your keyboard, for example, and then the piece is not going to align, as you can see, properly. It's always staying on its own orientation. You will also see on your right-hand side on the screen now, pressing V is turning on the align to surface on and off. The stick to surface is also an option you can turn off. I don't even know which hotkey that is, but yeah, well, that's also an option. Now you can even go through a certain object, okay? So this is very simple. Now, turn that back on. There's also another option, which is the snap to position. And this is also, you can do this by holding down F on your keyboard, or you turn the option on and then it will automatically go. I actually like to keep that off and press F on the keyboard, because that will always give it only in the second I'm holding down F. And then I'm toggling through the different snap points. There are snap points in the game, and that's pretty cool, because sometimes you have let's say you have like a bicycle, and the bicycle comes with 3 different pieces. There's a centerpiece, let's say the steering wheel, or like the steering anchor, and the wheels, and you want to make sure that you build this properly quickly. You can just hold down F or the snap to position, and then every piece snaps easily into position how it is supposed to do. The good thing about Frontier is they always give us the pieces as separate elements, so we can also use them in a different way, which also comes in very handy if you want to do this. Now, that said, we have also mostly gone through all of the different things. There's one more thing I want to show you. If you rotate the piece, you will see you have 360 degrees, and that's totally fine. But if you want to get a bit more precise or structured, because you always want to rotate that on the same level, you can hit spacebar. I relocated my hotkey to spacebar. Original, if you open the game, it's P. But I would really recommend to go back to spacebar if you have played any Planet games before. This brings up the angle snap, and you can go into angle snap from 45 degrees all the way down to 11.2C, which is crazy. In some other elements you can go to 90 up. Anyways, you can then rotate around here, and you can see now it snaps step by step. So that is how the piece is then rotated around. Also, by the way, last but not least, if you have your piece and you align that to a surface, now you will see it's perfectly accurately aligned to this surface. So now you could just go on building on this wonderful area. Toggling through these elements, by the way, you can do by clicking on X,
And now if you place one of the piece and you want to duplicate that because you want to have that on all of these units, you can just do so by either holding down Control D, which is duplicating the piece and will give you access to the piece aligned to your cursor or on controller on the center of your screen, so you can move this anywhere you want easily, and then all the controls you have previously set up are still available. But if you want to be more precise and you want to move that exactly on this axis, you hold down Control X and it's gonna bring up this menu again. You could now think it's just like moving this piece again, but hold on, if I move it, you can see there's a second unit coming out of this one, because that's the idea about this. If you do Control X, you will copy a piece from its origin. So don't worry if you don't see it in the first milliseconds, because it will be virtually exactly on the same position as the previous piece, and then you move that over. Once you've clicked, you can just keep on moving and copying these pieces around. However, beware, as soon as you have two things in a selection, by the way, within a group, you can hold down Shift and select pieces. Like if I want to select these three pieces here, Shift, hold, click, click, click. You've got selected all the three pieces. And you're like, oh, I don't want to have this one. You just hold down Control and click on that one. So you delete that from this from the selection. Unfortunately, as of now, I do hope that this is going to be fixed. You cannot drag shift select. You can do this once, you can drag over here, but if I want to drag select again and hold down shift, usually in the old game what it did is it added to the selection, but now it doesn't. You will always select something new. So holding down shift and drag select unfortunately doesn't work as of now. If in a future video it works, I'm gonna make a tutorial or like an update for that, but as of now it doesn't. Okay, now we've talked a lot about the stuff now. You can obviously also connect those two and then copy from the location. What is very important now is there's one little thing that's also kind of a bit annoying, but you just have to know it. Once you push that over and you click it, you unfortunately can't go on like it was previously. You have to click Control X again and again and again, okay? So you just can't, unfortunately, do this the other way around. All right, now with all these things out of the way, you now understand the controls, how building works. Now I'm gonna show you how you can make a building work for you in terms of being a little bit more quicker and more efficient. So what I'm gonna do is I built myself let's say a blueprint within a blueprint, and then we are going to go from here. So what I like to do is I always like to do a separate, let's say, basis that I can copy around. I always want to make use of the grid pieces as best as I can, and so this is why I'm going to do this. So what we're going to do is we're going to type in stone, because I want to have like a stone wall in here. So I'm not sure if I'm going to go with a brick wall. This one is okay. I think, you know, we can mix something in here. So I'm going to use the brick wall, and I'm going to put the brick wall right in front here. Let's see. We're going to go from this one. Okay, it's not perfectly aligned. Why the heck is it not perfectly aligned? Oh, it is perfectly aligned. It's my bad. Okay, never mind. So this is correct. I'm gonna put one to the back here, and then I'm gonna put another one right over here. So that should do the trick. And then what I'm doing then is I'm also going to look at this area in front here is nicely themed. I want to actually have a gate in front of it, so I actually do close it off because I feel like this is the best way of doing it. And then let's see what else we can find with stone, because I want to get a bit of a different vibe in it. Let's have a look what else we could do. There's a couple of lovely pieces in here we could use. This is stone. I quite like these ones. It's the stone market wall. This is also pretty nice. You could use that as like a lower piece. I will actually have a little lower wall here because I like the idea of having a lower wall that just separates this from the rest. But I'm gonna push this one back because I want to have this one overhanging a little, so it's aligned with the entrance gates a little bit. Like I try to, yeah, that's definitely fine. Just gonna try to do this, and then we're going to have a look how that continues to work. So like this, and we're gonna put some pillars in just to make it look nicer, and therefore we type in wood, and we will also have like another nice element in a second, but I don't want to make it overly complicated. You know, I'm just gonna show you the basics, and it's gonna look very nice still. So we're going to look a wooden piece that I like is resort wall trim. This one is pretty nice, and now we can actually make use of the snap position. So I'm gonna put this here in the center to snap it. However, I want to rotate this a a little to give it exactly this move. And now we're going to move this exactly here in the center, because that's where I want to have it. And I'm going to bring this a little bit up, because now I want to scale it perfectly up, going to the highest potential. There you go. So it's not going to go all the way up to the highest. And this is why we need another piece later on. Let's make this kind of brownish, shall we? Let's go for a bit of a brown tint, and then we're gonna give this a different brown tint here as a main piece. Let's have a look if that looks good. Yeah, that just does the job. And then I guess I'm gonna go with this one. And again, holding down F to perfectly align this with this piece, so you don't have any issues later on. So let's have a look here. There you go. And I'm gonna move this so that it does align with this piece. I don't want to make it poke out of the top. It doesn't. Okay, that's fine. And I'm gonna have another one down here. Just move that down as well so it aligns properly. Having the ropes in here looks kind of nice too. And the only thing I want to have down here is a bit of a nice kind of plate on top of it, because I feel like this doesn't look very nice this way. I feel like this is a good piece over here we could use. Let's have a look if we can rotate this to the other side, because I like the lower side of this one. I figured that is a cool piece anyway. So this is pretty cool, and I'm gonna have this one as an element for the fence. I feel like this is a very good piece. So let's put this down. Very nice, very, very nice. Big fan of it, big fan of it. So this is pretty nice. The only thing we haven't done is on the backside. This is just still floating in the air. And what we're going to do now is we have to fix the upper part here. So I want to keep this open because there needs to be some airflow. You know, this is a hot region, so we're gonna do this. I want to have this one as a roof piece for here. So that is definitely what I want to have. Make this one brownish, so here goes nothing. You're just gonna plop this in here, making sure that both is here. We can have one in the middle, it doesn't matter. Just up and down it a little so you don't have the texture fighting. If it's exactly on the same, it does do some texture fighting. And what we do need is we need some supports in here too. So what I like to do for that is, let me just go and have a look what we can find. So there needs to be like a normal, this is kind of a wonderful pole we can use for that. So let's just use that one. It's rather big, so we're gonna scale this down so it does the job for us here. So let's do it this way, and we're gonna plot this here and here. And now we make use of what we've learned. We select both, Control X, move it over, and then you've got these wonderful alignments. And I'm gonna do the exact same here as well. Wonderful. And if we continued like this, we could also have like these poles as supports here, but I don't think this is necessary. So what I want to do instead is do something creative, and I'm going to use this staircase piece as a creative way of making sure this looks good. So that's the way I want to do this. However, as you can tell, this would be in the center of what we are doing. So I'm going to move this all the way to the side here to make this align with the side, so no one would actually run against that, you know. This is where I want to have it. And then I'm pretty fine with this. The only thing I don't like is the front here. This looks a bit barren, bare bones, not really cool. So let's put another little detail on here. And therefore, we're going to select a couple of, this is a nice wood piece for that. So what I'm going to do is I'm aligning this with this piece down here, because that's the easiest way of doing so. Now, I'm just going to bring this all the way up here, rotate this down so that we have these elements like hanging down. I think this is fairly nice. And here you go. One last thing I quickly want to show you, in case you want to have like a little style element below. And I'm gonna use this one for that. Scale this all the way down. And you want to move this in the same increments. Let's say you want to have this in 4 increments, like put the one here, and then you want to go into the same increments. There is an option to have a snap distance. As you can see over here, you can set the snap distance from a quarter of a meter to all the way up to 4 meters. But I want to go now for a meter. And then when I drag it over, it'll automatically snap to this, to this, to this, and to this. And now you have the perfect increments. You could now select them all and then just move them back into exactly the position you need. Oh, you first of all have to delete, turn it off, like so. And then you could also even scale it further down if you want to. And if you reach the smallest scale, by the way, it's also pretty interesting. It doesn't slow down the scale or goes lower in the scaling. It just brings them together, which is kind of funny.
And as soon as you've hit the 100% again, because they were already the smallest, they all turn big again in the same increment. But that was just like a little showcase. I actually don't want these to be here. It just doesn't look that nice. And the last thing I want to do is, I'm not sure if that's in the fence section. I feel like it is. Yeah, there you go. I really madly love this piece. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this piece in here. And I'm going to scale this as much as I can to bring this up like so. Awesome. And then we're going to turn this as a little wall element here. Quite like this. All right, now we are almost done with the building. I know that sounds very, very odd, but this is the truth. I'm going to do this way. And now, have a look. I'm just going to select everything. I'm going to deselect, as I explained to you, by holding down Control. I'm going to deselect the facilities in the center because we don't need them. And now what I do is I Control D to duplicate this element. And as we have built on the grid, we can now easily just go on placing these things down. Like go here and click. Do that again and click. Do that again and click. And you get the idea, you know? This is the way we can now easily copy the pieces over, and you have the whole build done virtually in no time. So also don't forget to click. The object must be moved before it can be... Hello? Okay, that was odd why it didn't allow me to be placed. Now it is allowed to be placed. Okay, whatever. That was a very odd error. I've never had that before. Okay, so I'm just gonna place the last bits in here too. So, awesome. The last thing you need to do is just close off the sides, you know. Just making sure to delete this one because we don't need that on the sides. And then go all the way here. And we did forget something on purpose. I'm gonna show you what that was. So I'm going to put these walls in. Very nice. And you can see I forgot to put this nice trim here on this side. So you can now easily, just to show you how that works, just like easily go through here and select all of the pieces. And now you can hold down Control X and, Control X. Where's the gizmo gone? I did deselect that. For whatever reason, I was a little bit fast over here. So just select them all again. There we go. Almost have it. Control X, the gizmo comes in the center. You're gonna move this over, and boom, here you go. You put the trim on, and everything looks decent. I mean, almost decent, because we obviously need to, we need to make sure that people can go here into the entrance. So you would need to delete a couple of things here. That is the easiest way of getting access to the gates, you know. Sometimes you can just also do this. Select, whoops, I did delete once too many. And then just move it half a meter. Make sure to lower it down so that it aligns nicely. And the same goes to all the sides now here. I'm just gonna delete everything until we are with this piece. And then again, select this, this, and this. And then we are also going to move it just half a meter. You also have to put that back onto perspective every single time, which is a bit of an odd one. And there's also a trick if you don't like that because it doesn't fully align. You can always split the group from the bigger group, and now you get access to a precise movement because now the piece is separated from the grid and you can move it precisely, which then will give you access to a look like this. Obviously, these pieces here in the middle, the pillars are not looking fantastic right now. So what we're going to do is Control X, duplicate, and put them all the way down. And we have a proper entrance building. Look at that. What a fantastic, lovely entrance building. Now, what we also need to do, open up our entrance. So you need to find where your pieces were. There you go. And now we can open this up real quick. There are also these little thingies in the center. We are going to take care of them in a second. Now we're going to get rid of these as well. And we're going to get rid of these ones as well. We don't want anyone to go in here. So that can stay. That can stay. And now we're going to take ourselves a wall. And we're going to put the wall... Actually, you know what? Because this doesn't work properly, we need to first of all go in and type in shop front or shop. There you go. This is the... What's the wording though, precisely? Oh, there's like a space in between. Okay, now in here we could also have some wood if we want to. I feel almost like this is a good idea. Let's just see if that... Yeah, the bright wood looks kind of cool. And we do this on both sides, you know, that's kind of nice. And then you could see this is the modern wall. Modern wood, and then we can also have this piece and bring this into the right color. And I think I want to just continue with this pattern real quick, you know. It's nothing we do crazy over here. Whoops, I don't think this is the perfect alignment, but it will be in a second. Hold on. Well, it's not perfect. No, it's almost perfect, you know. just getting the right height. I mean, I could have just aligned that to the building, but whatever. So here we go. Nice. And I'm going to bring both in like that. And now you can easily select them both again. Control X, bring it over to the other side. And there you go. All right. And as we are lazy to style up these things, we are going to take it easy from here. So what we're going to do, we are in a building that is fine. And I'm going to use this piece here. Align that to this properly so that I'm happy with it. So let's go and get the right color, you know. There you go. Scale it up a little if needed so that we have the full counter kind of covered, you know. That's pretty much it. That's pretty much nice. So that's cool. I'm just going to use 2 pieces. I'm going to slightly angle this so just to have a bit of a nice... yeah, maybe that looks bad. Somebody's just gonna not do this because the person standing in front will maybe look bad then. I'm gonna type in plank because I feel like a plank would do its job here nicely. So there is a nice little plank that could do the job. Yep, that does the job. Let's go for a bigger one or maybe a slightly smaller one, and we're gonna scale this up so that it does align nicely. Yeah, that does the job. Let's lower it down, and we could also just use it already as like a pole to the side, because if we want to make like a little stand out of it that we can reuse, we're going to do it that way. But before you continue now, we've set the scene. You select all the pieces that you've used for the shop, okay? Now at this point you split it from the group because we want to be able to copy this whole shop front later on as a blueprint. So this is why I continue working now in the group. Just double click, you're back in a group, and now you can also use like a plank like this, for example. And we're going to use this as the counter piece, and I'm going to bring this up here because I don't like the way how it does look. So we're just going to do it this way. Yeah, it can also stick over a little. Why not? And then just do it like this and do it like that. Awesome. So this is pretty damn good. Looks already fairly nice. And I feel like we can also use this to build like the little stand I was talking about. So gonna bring this thing all the way up here. This might be a tad bit too big, so let's do it this way. And I also want to have like a support beam here. And again, scale it down so that it does do the job you want it to do. Okay, we can not go that far, but just like align it as soon as it fits, it sits. Whoops, that is maybe not right, so let's do it this way. Bring it up to the other side. Since I like this quite a bit, we are going to do this on both sides. And then just bring it all the way over here. Align this properly so that it sits good. Fine. And then obviously we need a beam in the center as well. I'm gonna grab the one from down here. Put this here. And obviously, as we may have a little roof, we are just going to do it this way. And we're going to say to these two, just copy again to have it a raised area. And then you know what? I think we're going to go with the corrugated roof because I like this quite a bit. We are going to get rid of the roof for the inside, but I just want to finish this because we have got more in the back that I wanted to style. So we are going to build the corrugated roof, and we're going to align this here. And this will be potentially too big, you know? So as you can see, this is way too... No, it's not actually not way too big. It's just... It would... Wait, hold on. It fits. It fits. You know, we're just going to align this properly and just so that it sits nicely on top of it. That's actually pretty nice. So, just going to plop it down here. Now, there's a little bit of an issue. First of all, I want to theme this a little bit into a very proper greenish color. I don't know, make it a bit more colorful. Now, if you copy that over, you can see it doesn't work with the grid perfectly fine. But in order to get this rotated, you can always use the trick to make 2 of them. Now you will have the alignment in the center, and now you can see you will be able to rotate this around the axis like so. And then you've got a perfectly rotated piece. You can bring this up to the other side, and now, and now as you don't need these 2 anymore, you can just get rid of them by clicking right-click on it. So the only thing that looks a bit odd right now is obviously that the whole thing seems to be falling down to the front. So what I want to do is I want to give this a bit of a nice side here, so just like this. And also for the back side, we can use these counter pieces and use them as a backdrop if we fancy doing so. Just bring them in as like a little bit of a backdrop. You can also have it like so. And then I guess I'm gonna make this a bit separated, so almost like this. And then you could even hang some items in the back if you want to make this shop counter look nice. Okay, so we've done this one, so we're just gonna copy that over so that it's in the back. So this is the outside variant. And now we're gonna use the inside variant. We are just going to get rid of some of the elements we have in here. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna do and make a proper in-house version, so to say. And with that, I mean, I'm gonna get rid of this one too. I do think I'm gonna get rid of these elements too. Hold on, not quite. I'm gonna get rid of these, and then I'm gonna move this one over, like so. And this can come back here, like so. And what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna copy the rest, all the rest, except those two pieces. And I'm gonna rotate this to bring it up to the other front, you know. Oops, there you go. Just so that we have this front also nicely covered. Let's have a look that this works. I feel like this is it. Yes, it's aligned also nicely here. Yeah, not quite. We should do so nicely. There you go. Now it's aligned. And then this is partially like the inside counters. Not sure if I want to make like a roof on top of it, but now we can just move it over. And again, I forgot that the gizmo sometimes the gizmo is really not wanting to play, so you just need to align that yourself, which is not too hard. You can just do it like so, you know, until you're happy with the alignment. It can become a bit fiddly, but it's worth the effort. So just move it until you're happy. I always like to move it a little bit inside so you can see the alignment, and then push it forward a little. So here we go. And it's fully styled as you have like a counter in the center. As I said, we could now say, okay, you know what, we're just gonna like to have this counter be connected to the roof for whatever reason. Oops. Yeah, this is a little bit of an issue, by the way, in case you're wondering what happens. I feel like it's very sensitive in this game that you select both axes. So you have to be very precise to not select both axes. At least I have a bit of a struggle with this. Okay, now this is done. The inside counter is styled, and you can see it's looking fairly decent. Couple of trees in the front will do the trick. So we're going to go and use the scenery brush. We're going to go for tropical and use the trees large. Just a couple of trees here and there, just making sure to get the area, and then also some smaller stuff in here as well. Let's see if there's something. Let's see if we can also get a couple smaller stuff in here. Oh my god, that's a little bit too crazy. Let's see if I can just keep that to the center here. Yeah, these bigger ones are actually annoying. Let's get rid of those because these are not needed. So there you go. Just a little bit, you know, to give it a bit of style. And the entrance building is done. Very nice. We could make like a bit in the center to make it look nicer. You know, you could have like a bigger roof in the center to just give it that extra bit of nice look. But now as you have got this one, you can just move this one wherever you want and put these onto these counters. Just select the height with the counter. And then once you're happy, I'm just going to make this with the precise. It's a little bit easier for me. So like this, align it properly also to the sides, and then just push it in, and you can just easily copy it over to all the other ones. Once you have the height, I recommend just staying on that height because that makes the whole life more simple for you. Yeah, sometimes there's a tiny bit of difference, like so, and then bring the whole system over to this side. And we've got all these stands, and then obviously what you could do in order to make a bit more variation, you could then just go into each of them and recolor the roofs. Say this one needs to be more pinkish to account for the brand you have, and then you go into that one and make that more yellowish sand color. So here you go. You've got 3 different stands in here. Very simple, but this should really give you the kick on how a building works in this game before we move on to the next chapter. But this is really how building should work. You learned now all this stuff, and I'm gonna make a dedicated advanced building tutorial, but this is not gonna be part of the big all-in-one tutorial because that would actually be way too much for once. But as for the building, that's it. Let's move on to the next one. Next up on our list is building pools. And pools, frankly, work pretty similarly to the pathing. So if you're in the mega tutorial, obviously, we have done already some pathing, but instead, if you're watching this as a part later, make sure to check out pathing before, but this is from the generics or from the basics the same. Now, there is a tab called pools over here, and as in all the other tabs, we have the chance to either create a custom one or use a blueprint. We're going to quickly start with the blueprint to showcase how easy it is to just grab it, and then we're going to find our spot where we put it. And actually, I'm going to put this one here just for easy access to it. So pool is built, very simple, but you know, we want to have more control, so we do also have this little well over here that we want to hide. I want this to be on the middle island in the pool, and then we're gonna hide this with some foliage around. This is the idea. So we're gonna create a custom one, and once you click on the custom one, you will see that this is how it looks. Now the thing is, we need to make this accessible by a well, some person who walks around. So we are going to build the pool around. So you can either build the pool, and I'm going to start with the swimming depth. However, when you build pools, there is a logic behind the depth, and this is the stuff I'm going to show you first. So let's put this on the stamp scale 2, so you can see that the little the least depth is actually called shallow. Then the next one is the wading one, and then we do have the swimming one, and there is even a diving one. So if you build things like that, it looks pretty simple, and you always have like a little way going down. It's a bit unfortunate that you really don't have that much control over changing the depth, but if you build a small part like that, you can change this. If you want to build and quickly access the pool edit, again, just double click on it, and then you're back in the edit. You have the similar elements as you have in pathing as well. Now you click on the edit tool, and now you will be able to edit the sides. Now there is a new function in here, and this is editing the depth. So what you can do is you can basically bring that higher up, as you can see over here, and we could also look for another one. So for example, this one over here, I want to have this higher as well. So you can make this whole decline a bit more gradual, and you can also do this obviously on the other side. Just look for the particular things like this, and then for example, we want to have that one too. So you make the whole incline a little bit more gradual. I quite like that, you know, this looks fine, but the problems occur if you want to keep on editing this with the stamp tool. And let's say we are still in diving, and we are going to edit something that is here. Now you can see there is a bit of an issue, because the whole thing just completely cranks into that, and there's not really much you can do about this. The only thing you can do now, obviously again, is go back into editing, search for that corner, and now you just edit this back in, but then it will create stuff like that. So I haven't really found a solution for how to smooth everything out. So this is why I highly recommend to start exactly like I did over here, gradually. So once you want to expand this pool, I would highly recommend to always stay in, for example, the shallow one first, and then go deeper from there. I'm going to show you exactly how that works now. So what I want is, this is actually a very good way of doing it. I want to have this part in the back being very deep, while I want to have this part down here actually shallow as it is. And I want to go around this thing over here, as I said. So I'm going to start drawing the whole thing, and I'm going to say curve, and this is using the draw tool. As you can see, we've got the normal line builder, which you can build lazy rivers with. We're going to do this on this side in a second. And you can do this the same way I did this over here with the stamp builder, or with the draw tool. We're going to use the draw tool right now, put that on curve, and now I'm going to just rotate this thing around this one. I want to have like a bit of an X-shaped thing over here, and then as you can see, I still have the depth shallow selected. This is exactly what I want to do, and I'm gonna go back to the pool. Once I'm there, I'm changing to straight to go like it snaps to the side. If you want to have this nicely, you can do this. I'm gonna snap all the way to here, and then I'm gonna bring this all the way up to here. And first of all, I'm gonna connect this. We're gonna work from here. Now, as this is done, you can see this is all a bit more nice. Right, but before we continue, we also see that this might be a little bit too close to this thing, so we might want to push that in. Just as a little reminder, go to the edit tool, and you can also select several nodes at once if you want to. I want to have this one as well as those one over here. I'm gonna drag the whole thing over, And so the whole bit goes a bit more nicely in here. And you can obviously change the depth a bit more. And now you can see the change is a bit more gradual. But as always, as I said in here, the middle stays the same, which we are going to solve in a bit. But first of all, I want to finish off the whole form of our pool, because this is not exactly, we want to fill the last bit in. So what we're going to do is to use the draw tool. And from over here, we are going to just take that and we're gonna make sure that we have the curve enabled. So just gonna move around what I've painted over here. Just like that. I wanna have like a smooth transition in here. Once you're in, use the straight one to actually go along that side. And now you have a wonderful pool. Now you can obviously tell that this over here isn't nice. So first things we're going to do is we're going to solve this edge a little. Go back into the edit mode and then look for the sides you want to align with this a bit nicer. So I'm gonna do this like so, and then this looks all a bit nicer. From over here, we now need to be carefully adjusting this. So what I like to do is I'm gonna go and use the draw tool, and I'm gonna go one step further down with the weighting. So I'm gonna do this by trying to stay away like 2 meters-ish from the side, and then I'm gonna try to paint around the pool a little like so. You don't need to be like super precise, but try to stick as best as you can. And then you can see the whole pool moves down a little, and that's nice. And you can see there's still this bit in the middle we need to get rid of. So I'm gonna stay here, and I'm gonna stay a little bit like this, and then just try to make like a nice curve here and a nice curve around there. Not too aggressive. And what the heck? Oh wait. Hold on, that's not correct. I don't know why I had this selected wrong. Never mind this little error over here. You always have to check whether you're on the right height though. You saw that now, why this is important. So here you go. Now the pool is mostly fixed. For the most part, it looks a lot more better. There is this corner over here doesn't look good, but we want to have a bit more of a deeper part in the pool anyway. So this is why we're gonna go once further down into swimming. And now you're gonna change a little bit more again. Make sure to not be too close to this edge over here, because that would look very odd indeed. So you need to go once further inwards, just as we had this before. And then you're gonna paint exactly the same. You can also vary a little bit in the shape if you want to. So I'm gonna do this like so. And I'm gonna make this work like this. And you can see this is okay. You know, it's not perfect. You can see there's an edge over here that just didn't work exactly like I wanted it to. Sometimes it creates these things. Unfortunately, you can't just go in with the edit tool and change it. So in order to get rid of that, the only idea I would have is take like a little shape and try to paint over it by just having to click here a little. Yeah, that just kind of fixed it a little bit. And then you could go in and make the weighting, or maybe you just do that with the weighting a little bit. Yeah, I mean, it's a bit of a painful thing to do because it just doesn't exactly work how you would like to work it. But there are ways, as you can see, to fix it. And I would, again, try to keep on doing this, just like here. I'm gonna make like a very, very deep area that is going a little bit right here. Just first of all fixing what we've done before, so that's nice. And now we go all the way down to diving, and then we also make this work by just doing exactly what we've done before. Just find yourself a nice shape that you want to have in the center. And well, this one is pretty aggressive, so I might just leave it as it is. So this is that. It's a bit of a pain to do, but at the end of the day, you can achieve something good. I mean, what I would do now in order to make this look good, I would definitely go into the edit tool and then select a bit more on these sides, and then try to really bring this to a height where it works. So just make sure that this all doesn't look too shabby. I think this just kind of fixes it a little bit. Like this is too high. Just bring that down a little. So this way you can click yourself through and make that. It's a bit fiddly, you know, but it works at the end of the day. So I do hope that we get a smoothing option for that, because in some of the pools that are fully flat, obviously it looks good, but we are not here to do the easy things, you know, we are not here to do the easy things. The last bit I wanted to show you, and this is why we create a little of a lazy river here. Again, if you want to build a pool here, you can also just double click on that pool, go into the pool builder. We use the line tool, and we're going to make this not diving, but swimming, and we're going to have this on curve style, and I want to have it on the, well, let's go to 5 meter width. And what we do, we're going to plop this in, well, maybe here, and then we just build a little lazy river. in this area. So it is freaking simple. What you can always do is you can also say, at the moment we have a path option enabled, and you can also disable that if you want to. So at the moment the edge type is path. You can also put this to infinity, and then the pool just comes without any, you know, edges or anything. This is nice if you want to build some, you know, let's say plants around this, or let that go through a cave or so. But as for the path, it's also pretty simple. You can just double click on the path and then just copy the existing texture, and make sure if you don't want to have railings to disable them. And now you can use the draw tool to basically connect these areas with each other if you want to. So let's just move over. Again, the tool is pretty similar. Go to straight and then just paint along this side here, and then bam, there you go. You filled in the entire area here. So it's very simple. You can just quickly do this here as well. That's also part of the pools. And then just, come on, there you go. You fix that. So very simple, but remember, people can only access the center by just going in and out with stairs. And this is the second thing. We go to pools, and there are pool extras. Here we have all pool extras. They are under scenery, so it automatically guides you over here. We've got 3 different ladders. We've got the small ladder, we've got a medium-sized one, and we've got a big one. They are obviously for different depths as well of your pool. If there is a wading or like a small one, you can't put the biggest one in. We have some sun lounges. You can place them everywhere on the path as you want. They are not going to be placed on sand or so, unfortunately, but you can obviously always go and make this a natural ground, and then this looks like sand, but it still is. We have jumping or diving boards, as they are called. You can place them at mostly every area where it's deep enough. You can also have like a lower one if you want to, but if there's like only wading, normally they don't allow, as you can see over here. Obviously they don't allow, but as soon as it's deep enough, and we're just gonna move that around. If there's anyone, I think maybe on this side somewhere, yeah, here there would be a spot where it's deep enough, so the game actually knows exactly where you can put them. So that is nice. Then we obviously have our pool guards that you need in management. They need to create an area of influence that they can overview all of the pools. So here, for example, I would recommend to put them there, and then maybe we're gonna have like 2 here. Again, those also need to be placed on path, as you can see. So I'm gonna place them here. You can also have like a lifeguard post, and the difference between those is that they have different areas of influence. If you click on them, you can see this, but if we click on the heat maps and then we go to, hold on, which one was that again? Somewhere over here, pool, water, cleanliness, nope. Was that safety? Somewhere in here, nope. Condition, pool safety, there you go. Normally, that should be better now, because we do have all of these in. I think it's just because they're not in operation, but I think because they're not connected to the path, by the way. This is the main reason why. So just gonna quickly connect them here. So that's why. Now they are connected, and the lifeguards have access to their rooms and so on, so that should be better. Yeah, there you go. Now those 2 are fixed. This one isn't quite, but should be in a bit. There you go. This is exactly what it is. By the way, I'm sorry for the little cough. I just tried my best to have to get rid of the frog in my throat, but this is what we say in Germany, by the way, having a frog in my throat. If you have this little, it's not coughing, but, you know, whatever. We are here for a tutorial. I'm sorry. Let's continue with the pool elements, because there's more to it. If we go back into the pool, I would always go into pools and then pool elements, because that will bring you in the right category. There is also something called like the lazy river jet, and if you place them down, with those you decide which area you want to influence, and with holding down your Y or Z key, you can again rotate the piece, and it will then snap to give it a certain current. Now once you've set that, you can basically place multiple of these in, as you will be seeing here. You need to put them on both sides actually, and preferably make sure that they do check the right connect. There you go. Need to have the right height, and then put them into this thing. Now we could obviously go through here and just create a certain current, you know, make them go in all these things. And if I hit play, you will see there are these jets starting to make some push water, so to say, and you can even see that the water starts to move a little bit faster over here than it does if we go all the way over here. You can see the water barely moves, but if we go all the way back over here, you can see the water gets a bit more sped up and starts moving, and the people will be affected by that. This is pretty cool. I mean, they have confirmed that this is fluid water volumes, which affects everything. And so with these jets, you are creating a wonderful current. However, this is not all. You can even create some waves. And if we go back into the elements, you can see there are wave machines. They come in 4 different sizes. And if you place them in, I'm just going to place all of them in, you can see they are starting to create waves. And yes, they are also fully simulated. So that is pretty cool. I'm not sure if I can put this in this one anyways, because it's too flat. So there's no chance. And obviously you can't put this on rounded shapes. So I'm going to look if there is any area I can slap one here. And the biggest one I can't put in, but the idea is very clear. It just creates waves, as you can see, and the people will move accordingly. So this is a wave pool now. You can't really change anything about this thing. It also goes better the more scenery you have. And just to make these pools obviously work better, it is always very much handy to put in some tropical stuff. So if you have some tropical plants small, you can just place them around here. I'm just going to quickly do this so you guys get an idea, and we also get some rocks in. It doesn't need to be a 10 out of 10 design over here, but the chance to do this is always good. Also, let's move this thing away because it blocks our area. And now if we click back on it, you will see that, oops, actually it should have had more scenery now. I'm not sure why it doesn't, but maybe it takes a moment until it relocates. But the more scenery it has, the more prestige your pool gets, and this is the way how to dress it up. I mean, you can place some blueprints here anyways, like if you go, for example, to scenery and then go all the way back to blueprints, you can always choose, like, for example, like a coral reef, and plop that into the water, and maybe also have like a Queenie splash thingy over here, like this, for example. Usually that should affect it now. It doesn't, so it seems like the game takes a moment to update. But this also helps to get your pools more prestige, because you can actually also click on your pool as a whole, and then you have the prestige over here. At the moment it is at 463. It can go all the way to 1000, and it gives you the idea what is installed in here as well. And if we click on the lazy river, for example, it shouldn't have that high of a prestige, as you can see, because there's like no plants around and so on. And this one over here even less. It should even have a negative effect of this little thing over here. There's no minus though, but this is not having a good effect on these things typically. But this is already all you need to know about pools, because pools are relatively simple, as you can see. They become better once you put some slides and stuff in. As you can see, the people are roaming in. At the moment, pools seem to be the absolute killer feature when it comes to getting people into your parks. They are very, 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 very popular if you put some scenery items in and so on. Unfortunately, and this is something you need to keep in mind, this is a piece that is not relevant to the people. They will swim through it. So in case you want to do something like that, I highly recommend putting these things on islands and not in the middle in the water as I did. Build islands like that and then just put some stuff in to make sure that this looks good. But yeah, so far so good. That's been it about pools. And I guess we need to continue with the next part of our tutorial. Right, next up we have slides or flumes on our list. Now, this tutorial will receive an update in the near future, and there will be a link to the top right with an updated video, because Frontier is going to update the slides as they have just announced, and so they will receive actual physics, and this may change a little bit about this tutorial. If so, I'm gonna put a little description to the top right now. However, we are going to look at flumes, and as in every menu, you will have a menu pop up over here with a couple of blueprints, and this is exactly what we're going to start with. We are going to have a couple of blueprints here that we're going to plop down just for getting a little bit of an idea how flumes work. So we're going to bring this all the way up here so they can all be like this is not going to be very, it's not going to be very you know, easy, but I'm gonna do this here. This is a bit too shallow over here, but whatever. For the sake of the tutorial, that should be fine. You shouldn't do that because obviously people wouldn't be too happy crashing onto the ground. Nevertheless, we're going to put also like a bigger one in. We're just gonna go here. So we're going to plop this one all the way onto here. Oh, you know what? We're just gonna move this thing all the way over and just rotate this a little more so that we can also just kind of have this pump covered later on. So this is kind of cool. just bringing that over. And you should also make sure that, you know, people need to have a way to walk around still. I'm going to put up this one here. This hill will still remain the one where I'm going to build this. Now, just for the sake of understanding how that works. So the flume comes with a platform, and the platform will then have access points where you can plop on a wonderful flume. You will also have a staircase that goes all the way down to the nearest foundation that you can have, as you can see over here. And then you can just simply go with path and then use the queue or a normal path. It doesn't matter. You can connect both to it. So I'm going to just do a little queue here. This already connects the slide, and the only thing that changes is once you put a queue in, people can actually properly queue over here. But as you know, and the way how the game works now is a bit differently, so you could also use the actual path if you fancy doing so, because this would then make sure that people do queue still, and they also queue on the staircase. So a lot of queue options here. Now you've seen this this slide over here comes with a different format. This is a bigger one, and you can see this is where people sit in one singular inflatable ring. So they will go down with the ring. The ring will then disappear once they're in the water. You can test those things, and I'm gonna hit test and hit P for play, and then you can see the little ride goes all the way down here. We just do see this eventually, and while you see that, you can also tell why this game absolutely needs some physics. You'll see that over here. This is very clunky, and once we click on it again, and you will see we're gonna do one more test. There you can see it. There's really not that much going on, like very much is weird going from left to right, but they look good. I'm not gonna lie, they really look fantastic. And here you go, hopping into the water, which all looks very, very decent. So yeah, this is the way you plop them down as wonderful blueprints. Nothing too crazy to understand about that, just plopping them down. You will need to have to test them before you can open them. I cannot open this because the checklist is not complete. I need to connect an entrance path to it. So clicking on here will bring up a path, and then you can just do what I was just doing over there. You can also plop this one down into this path if you want to, just like so. And then they have all to move around here. Sometimes it makes sense to just guide the people in a different way. I also want to make the entrance for this slide go here. So this is exactly what we do. We are going to build another flume now on top of this one, because that's the easiest way to showcase how it's built. So if you don't want to go back onto these ones over here, you can create a new flume. And at the moment we have 7 different types in. We've got the body flume, we've got the body slide, we've got the body slide wide, we've got the double inner tube flume, we've got the inner tube flume, we've got the matte flume, and we've got a raft flume. We are going to build the biggest of them all, the raft flume, because it does come with a couple of extra things. You can also see there is a way of inverting. There's one slide that can actually, not completely invert, but it has this like semi-loop, you know, that you can build, like this sideways loop. And once you place one yourself, you will see there is the platform that you can build. You can either move this with shift or control around the axis, or as always, you can bring up the advanced move tool with X, and then you have the platform. Depending on how big your platform is, the more access points you can create. So what you can do is you're just gonna plop this here, and once you want to have more to it, you just click it next to it, and then the whole platform gets connected. Sometimes there is a trick, just to showcase, that when you have a platform, we're going to test this if the trick still works. If you have a platform that goes slightly higher than this, a little bit like so, you can build this. Sometimes you can build this at some point. There you go. Sometimes this will be a platform that also allows to be used from just one entrance. We're going to test this later on, but we're going to first of all start the whole slide over here. You see this is the entrance point. If I revert that and I'm going to create a flume again, the game just wants me, if I go for the raft flume again, to build a platform again, but you can just go here to the starting point, then select the starting point, and now you're good to go to an existing platform. You could now also go over and try to put it on this platform over here, but there is not enough space, so you can't put that here. Do we have enough space over here? Yeah, we would have enough space to connect this on this one too, but we don't want to. We want to have it here, so we're going to plop this on the side here. Now, once you've done this, you can see you're greeted with a couple of elements. We do have the open flume, a enclosed flume, a high slide flume to the one side, to the other side. we've got a transparent one, and we've got a transparent pipe. This is mostly the same with all the slides. We've got some specials. We're going to look at them real quick. We've got this orb right, orb left. We've got an oscillator, which is kind of interesting thing, but it will be more fun once we've got actual physics, I guess. So this one works in both ways, and it has a semi-open version and a fully enclosed version. Then we have got a half pipe that works like this. Obviously it wouldn't work over here. And then we've got this a big bowl that is actually working as a bowl, either like this, or you can have this as an end piece as well. Then we have this kind of plant trap or so. You can really see how the game is having this is a bit of an odd one. You can already see the track that the raft will follow, which is not really realistic, but that's not the point of the tutorial. You can just place it down and you don't need to focus on the physics of it. Left and right does work both, and then you have this absolutely weird, crazy funnel thingy, which obviously works only with a lot of speed going into it. My god, that is hilariously big. You can rotate this in both sides, as you can tell. And then we've also got this one as an enclosed version on both sides. And we also have utilities. That is an uphill water jet, which is exactly what we are starting with. Once you place this down, you then have the ability to go up a little, like this. And then you can go straight again. And from here, you could also go back into this stuff. And then we also have the end pieces, as I was talking about. But these end pieces, I think we are going to actually use... Oh my lord. Is that like... This is the end then? Oh my god. I think we're going to use this one just for the sake of doing it. This is rather ridiculous. We're going to put this here. But yeah, so as you can tell, there is a lot going on. How much of a height difference is that? Okay, we need to keep in mind that this is the height difference. A couple of end pieces. You have an open bowl and a enclosed bowl, and this is almost the same with all the slides. You know, they come with a different version, and then you can obviously build the slide like this. Again, there is not really much to know about this other than that you can now build a slide. As I built this intentionally wrong right now, you will see that there is no need to properly look at physics right now. I do hope, again, that I will have to update this wonderful tutorial at some point, because this over here would be a massive problem. But I'm gonna do this real quick to just show you something, because again, just like all the other rides in this game, and we will be talking about this with the coasters as well in a bit, you can go to the edit mode, and then if you fancy changing this to have this a bit more smoothed out, you can exactly do this. You can go to smooth, but also I'm not sure why it doesn't do this right now, but let's see if I can smooth it now. It doesn't want me to smooth it. Okay, this is interesting, because I feel like, well, you can still then just get rid of these things and then get rid of a piece more. And now, if you place this down and you rotate this a bit nicer, there should at some point be the chance to auto-connect those two. And then this will be, there you go. And you can see, confirm that. And you have a way better slide over here. Now, let's select all of them and smooth this a bit. Okay, well, we actually smooth the turn? Yeah, we can smooth at least the turn. Sometimes the all doesn't work. You can also smooth the height. So that is nicer. And now we can also do this with this one. Smooth the height. And smooth the banking is ridiculous because we don't have, but we can smooth the turn. And sometimes it does some good things, sometimes, as over here, they didn't. Now, this is how you build a flume. There is really not that much more to know about. If I would continue now to build this properly, you can also add like a glass piece if you want to. And I'll also, we can also change the length. And now this is interesting. Once I go through this central pillar, you should try to avoid that because it destroys mostly the way the pillars work. It's a bit of an odd one that it doesn't get rid of this one. So let's fix that by building around this thing actually. Okay, it still creates these things even though we go around. So let's see if we can get rid of this problem by just building a longer piece that goes a little bit more down. Yeah, that works. Okay, so this fixes the issue I had. And now we can, okay, well, that doesn't fix the issue. It's a bit random sometimes, and I do admit that I don't like this. So I'm gonna try to just go to the edit mode and get rid of these pieces over here. Whoops, hold on. There you go, delete them, and we're gonna go in this direction. to not cause major damage with these things. I want to go back to the normal piece, and then you can also go a little bit upwards once you have enough speed. So there is a way of doing this. You don't need to, you know, always have the speed up thing, but if you go way higher than your speed allows, you obviously need to have the speed trap. So for now, as we wanted to use this hilarious end piece over here, we need to find a way. Okay, the height is actually not correct, so we need to go a bit higher. So let's do a little turn over here and bring this whole thing up a little bit more. Again, I have no idea how high we need to be. So let's just try to do that again. Okay, we are we are almost there. As we want to go here, we're just going to build another turn, which is that one, make it a bit longer, and we're just going to test click the whole time until we have it. Okay, so that direction doesn't work. We need to tilt that a lot more over to the other side. So let's actually do this, and then I wonder why there you go. Look at that. This is almost okay. Well, this is not perfect because we are not quite there yet. But knowing that this was the right direction, we can actually get it higher up and build one more piece and shorten that. And let's have a look if we are... Okay, we are almost there. This... honestly, I think it's almost easier now to adjust the pool rather than keeping that this way. Okay, we're gonna not test this, but we're gonna take this guy and bring this over. And what we're gonna do over here, we are just going to quickly adjust the pool. We go to... Wait, swimming is okay. And then we're just gonna focus this area here on making the pool go like so, that they just splash in with the raft, so to say. And we're gonna do a little bit more of the depths that we need over here. Yeah, that's kind of okay. And then obviously we need to get rid of some of the foliage below. It's way too complicated to click them individually. You will not be able because the slide is in the way. So what you got to do is go to demolish, and then you won't have everything. You make this smaller, you make this smaller, and then you just say, in this sense, scenery, because of all the things you want, and then just get rid of it, okay? That's the easy way of doing this. Now it should be cleaned in the middle. Not quite. So let's go back to that one. And here you go. See, that's awesome. So we've built this very crazy thing, to be honest. I mean, I don't even know if I don't even know if we've got enough power to get big into that, but we're gonna test this real quick, and then we will know if this works. So what we're gonna do, we click on the raft flume, and then we say test the ride. First of all, let's place the entrance so we can quickly connect that later. See, this is one of the issues sometimes. If you have a mountain below, it will not let you build the whole stair downstairs, because why would it? And if you want to have if you don't want to have a stair at all, you click Control once, and then you build the normal gate. This is what I want to do over here, and this will now create this gate for you. And as soon as you build downstairs normally, that'll be looking fine. So one thing I want to do before I test this thing, I want to see if we can. First of all, we're gonna edit this one. Hello, there you go. And I want to see if these pieces, can I increase the speed that we go in with? Acceleration rate. Let's plump that way up. We're just gonna want this to be completely shut off. Okay, done. And then hit test, and I'm gonna hit play to see how that works. It should be filled in with dummies right now. Ooh, it's gonna go very fast in here indeed. Look at that. Oh gosh. Does it go all the way up? Yeah, it makes it quite fast, to be honest. And then does it come out of here? Yay. That is amazing. That is really amazing. Okay, I would technically make this a little slower now, but it fulfills what I wanted to do here with the tutorial. It's all fine. So the last bit I'm gonna do, obviously to connect that, you're just gonna go to either the path, or you just click on connect the path, then it will give you the option, and then you just build down the path as you go. You know, I'm gonna make like a shady path down here. Don't you worry. I'm gonna bring this all the way down to the ground. There you go. And we can also make this curve. Why not? Curve might be better. And then we bring it's gonna be hilarious. And we're gonna bring this all the way down. Hello, stop doing this. There you go. Connect this. This obviously looks very odd, but one cool thing about this game is you can now adjust the terrain, make the intensity higher, and just make the terrain go closer to your pathway. You don't need to care about this that much more anymore, because the game allows you to get closer to it, so it looks a lot more realistic once you you know, get this. If I would have made this steeper, by the way, this would actually look a lot more realistic. So, because then it would create some extra stairs, but maybe we want to have this weird incline, you know, how people can go up here. So look, that's done. And I mean, you know now how to build scenery and the terrain. I don't need to do a tutorial on that. And you have seen that either, or you've been with me for over 2 hours now, so you know exactly how this works. So there's a raft. This is done. The entrance is done. And now you can say, wonderful, it's done. I'm going to click on this one and open it. You have basically built your very first own Flume. Now, I just wanted to quickly test if this works over here too. So we're going to go to the Flumes again, and we're going to build, oops, I don't want the custom one, and I want to build the body flume, whatever. Build this one, go to platforms. You've got a different couple starting platforms. I'm going to go with this one, and I'm going to plop this here, and then you can just go and start like this and bring the whole thing. You have also different elements, as you can see. This is the loop I was talking about, the loop right, loop left, figure 8 loop, figure, oh my god, why are they so, oh my god, do I need to start very much up here? Let's have a look. Can I start with the loop already? Oh, that works. Okay, fantastic job. By the way, one last thing, because I didn't talk about that, but just let's undo this. And in the settings, you basically go to auto tunnel and you say 3 meters. Because now you will see it's the same. I'm doing the same thing again, but well, wait, hold on. Do I need to go one less? Let's do this. I'm gonna get rid of those 2. Now I set auto tunnel to 3 meters. Okay, and I'll click again. Okay, that seems to be a little bug. Usually what it does, and I'm going to do this with a normal track so you can see what happens. If you press auto tunnel, which is now activated, you can then get rid of the terrain over here, as you can see. Now as the terrain is gone, we can have our loop in. It should do this itself though, but it seems to not do it. Anyways, I want to just say done. And now the entrance, yeah, exactly. So the cool bit is now, this is actually connected to this entrance. So you don't need to put yourself, like, you know, you can just go in here, and as soon as the slide is tested, you can basically get people on this. I'm gonna quickly put this in a thing that we haven't talked about, and this is very important as well, because there's also a different way to basically end your flume, and we're going to do this and bring this all the way over here. It's going to be a very shapy slide, not gonna lie, but for the sake of the tutorial, that should be fine. I'm gonna go around once more so it's not that boring. Oops. And bring it all the way back here. So we're gonna bring this all the way here to the ground. Yeah, we can make one more dip here and then just go straight. And you can also end this whole thing with a piece like this, for example, or that. I'm just gonna go back. It seems like we need to go a little bit. There you go. It's slightly up on the ground right now, but it doesn't matter. You can also rotate this if you want to find the right spot. So there are several ways to end the flume without going into the pools. You can have a splash zone like this or one like this. And I'm going to go for that one, and you're done. So the only thing you need to do then is to connect the path to the rest of the path, because otherwise that doesn't work. You can just easily do it. Well, does it easily connect here? Well, it's not easy. What you can always do is you can, first of all, use the draw tool. I figured that that's the easiest thing to do. And then you just connect this later on. So what I will do is now I'm gonna say straight. And then I'm going to, hold on, I'm gonna draw a bit of a plaza around this thing. There you go. Now this is done, but we want to have like a bit of a bigger plaza, so we're gonna connect this here. Hold on, come on. Yeah, come on, just like so, and so. And this should also allow me to connect. Sometimes it's just snapping weirdly, but here you go. Now this is easily fixed, and now you could try to use the line tool to connect those two. Sometimes it works. Yeah, there you go. And then you've got this lovely little staircase in between. Bit of a tripping hazard, but it's okay. I think I like the way it is. Also, I like how the stairs are a bit different. Not so super straight as always. Quite a big fan of that. Didn't see that often. And then you've got your splash zone over here. You would technically need to get rid of the railing. That's not like we need to do that. You know, let's get rid of the railing and then make that railing go. Okay, fine, that's done. Okay, lovely. We've built that slide. Let's quickly test this to see if everything works. So I'm gonna quickly test this wonderful slide as well. Shooting the buddies in here on the testing thing. It's like this corner is obviously deadly, it's lethal, but should be tested right now. Let's open it up. There you go. So as it's open, you will see that people can now go onto these slides. I'm not sure if they will. Sometimes they just don't because the slides themselves don't have enough prestige. Okay, this one does have a lot of prestige though. What about that one? Maybe the stats are too crazy. Well, no, it's actually, the stats are pretty good. Prestige is also good. So usually people, oh yeah, there you go. They come storming in. I think this one isn't opened. Yeah, there you go. Let's open that one too. And now we're just going to quickly, before we end this tutorial, you will see they will all go up here. Very nice indeed. Well, that corner is definitely a shortcut. So let's see if they eventually jump up here as well. Yeah, there you can see that. They just somehow beam up there, which is kind of cool. I mean, you could then connect this with like a fake staircase and just make that implied, you know. I think that would be fun. And obviously there's going to be a queue happening right now. Now the gate is open, this person goes up here and goes in. So yeah, I mean, it's a little bit of a trick, but it does work, so that is totally fine. Alright, that's been it with the slides. You successfully mastered now how to build slides, and this is where we can go on to the next step in our tutorial, which is going to be Flatrides. We are going to look at Flatrides in this part of the tutorial, and obviously Flatrides are a big part of every theme park game. We do have a lot of blueprints, as always, not only in this tutorial but also in the other I made and also in this very long tutorial. We are looking at some blueprints first because that's the easiest way for many people to get a hang of it. We are going to check out the blueprints here. So we've got a teacups ride that is dressed, we've got a synchronized thing, we've got a mythology synchronized. So you can see a couple of these things. We are going to go for, oh my god, I'm not sure. I quite like these ones. I'm gonna go for the hammer swing. That should be a big one. Yes. So as always, you can just hit shift on your keyboard, and then it's gonna bring the whole thing down to the level you want to have it. We're gonna plop this here in the end. This is where it is. The game also shows you where the entrance and the exit goes, and I'm gonna plop this in here as I want to have the exit already connected, so we can actually do this over here. Let's do this a little bit like so. The exit is gonna be connected already. Ooh, there you go. So the exit is connected. The only thing we need to do is to build the entrance path. As always, like super simple. I'm not going to do something crazy over here. We're just going to build a very little wonky queue. There you go. Connected. Done. Now what you do is you're gonna test this. It has no power, which we can actually do this. The game also, which is very nice, the game also gives you the add power option. Now, once I do connect something now, and I'm gonna use the distributor now, because we do have power from over here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pop one here, and then we connect this obviously to the grid, and we should be fine. Yes, we are. Look at that. Auto hired once open. So awesome. This is good. We can now open the ride, and there will be a ride operator just waiting for us to operate this ride. Not sure where the operation booth is over here. Well, somewhere over here it should be. Now, obviously, you can dress them up. Oh, there you go. It's down here. Now, the Flatrides are coming with a lot of wonderfully dressed up things, but you can also build them yourselves, obviously. And the same goes for tracked rides. Tracked rides, before we go into the custom blueprints, are a bit of a different thing. They are mostly having like a little ride. You can build like different things like go-karts and monorails and narrow lock flumes and all different types of rides. We are going to build, just for the sake of showcasing, we are building the river rapids as well, because that makes a lot of sense to build this. They pretty much work the same way as coasters and slides, but we are building just a very tiny one that goes very much around here. Into the sinkhole is going to be where we place our custom flat ride, but this is going to be where we are going to... I thought we are going to build like a other track ride down here, but I feel like the river rapids can just go here. Now, this game wants to build a little incline first, so why not? It has a fixed incline that goes in and a fixed end piece, but as soon as you're done, you're just able to build whatever you want with it. So we're gonna go around, and from over here you can either make yourself a dip, which is not as quick as it can be, but the cool bit about that is you can still shape it yourself. So that's how it works. And then you can do all kind of other stuff with this ride. Gonna bring this back to 0, and then you can make like a wider thing like this, for example. I'm just gonna move this into the other direction. And then if you wanna bring that back, there is an option on the other side, which is either you can have like these kind of rapid sections, and then over here you can make this connection go back to the normal one, and then we're going to bring this out of the forest. I'm not even willing to build like a huge ride because that's not the point of this tutorials. You by now know how to build rides, so this is not the thing. But there are other things, as you can see, and you can also have like a half open one, and then you can close the half open one again, and then you can obviously auto connect this back into the queue, into the station. Now there are a couple of little issues here. You can get rid of them by smoothing the selected pieces out. I'm really not sure why the game does these kind of things, but yeah, you're gonna smooth these out, and we are done, set, and so on. What I wanted to show you is much more important, because you now can do something really cool. You can actually, hold on, can you not do this with, you can't do, oh, that is interesting. I thought you can do this with river rapids as well, but apparently you can't do this with the river rapids. You can't style your river rapid ride. Okay, I thought you could. That's something I didn't check. Okay, well, hold on. I'm going to show this then to you with the Flatride, because as this seemingly cannot do this, you know what? We're going to keep this here as like in for a ride that I've shown you how to build a track ride, because most of them work the exact same way. I'm going to show you now how a flat ride works, and the flat ride is being created by custom. Clicking on custom, then we select what we want to do, and for our sake over here, let's see something that could work funnily with water. Yeah, well, that's all insanity. Nope, there are so many in here. You know what, let's use the Matcha roller. I think this is a good one. It's not the same ride. So you can see they come with a super tiny footprint, which I'm a big fan of. So that's that, and then you can also see where you want to put this. I want to have this right over here, and now put the entrance in, put the exit in. Nice, you could now connect this right away. One very cool thing is, if you want to get rid of the railing, that's pretty simple. You just go in here, say path extras off, and then you can also customize this with your beloved texture. You can also say I want to have the brick path, and then you have the brick path, and then you just click on the sides, and as you can tell, then our wonderful railing is gone, and you can style this whatever you want this to style it like. But I do want to have this wonderful path, as this is fitting a lot better to our area here. And then you can obviously put this on a bigger path if you want to. Let's see if we can have selected the right one. Yes, we have. And now what you can do is from over here, you can also just build a huge plaza around if you want to, just like that. The only caveat is, as you can see, the outline will stay. I even thought this will vanish then. That would have been a dream, to be honest, but that will stay, but you can easily dress it up with some lower fences or lower stuff if you want to. So this is that. Let's just quickly make these corners over here a bit more, less harsh. Okay, well, it doesn't want to let me, whatever. And then the best bit about this is now if you go to customize, you can attach scenery. So once you open this menu, you will now have the chance to add scenery. Let's say we want to have this anchor, and now you can see there is this area down here where you can attach scenery, or you can attach it here, or you can attach it here, or you can attach it here, or you can attach it, well, you guessed it, here, and also here and here. And this is, sorry, I'm just like, I love it way too much. So what we're going to do, we're going to have this thing in here, and I'm going to scale this all the way down because that's just like a smaller one I want to have. And we bring this here into the center. Let's see if it is correctly aligned. Well, we have to rotate that a little to make it nice, and so on. There you go. Our weird anchor is on top of here. And now we could also do some other stuff. Let's put some of these aquatic doors in. We can put them here. And we also make them smaller, which we can't, I guess. Oh, okay, we can. But we can use the symmetry and say mirrored, and should actually have on the other side. There you can see it. It is now on the other side too, which is kind of cool. Now, if you plop that down, this is how it looks. And now you can put the same piece on the other side if you want to. And say, oops, that's the wrong one. Go to the settings and say mirrored as well. And you'll see the same thing happens. If I push it away, you can see the game does it on both sides. And, well, actually I do this because I want to align it properly with here. So just like so. And also to the sides. There you go. And now let's bring it all the way back. And boom, there you go. Wonderful. Now we've got these pieces there. And then you could do a couple of, let's say, VFX water effects if we want to. So we're going to water. And then we have got, for example, the bubbles. Let's say bubble effect is great. So we're going to plop the bubble up here. And we're going to have the bubbles sunken in because they won't be needed to be... Wait, where did I put them? Oh my god. Okay, wait, hold on. Did I plop them correctly on? I want to have the bubbles. So let's see the bubbles. First of all, you need to make sure that they're attached to this area. And I feel like if we do this here, yeah, that's the way to do it. I'm gonna leave these things on top now so I see what they are. So, and we also had that mirrored, so they are already on both sides, which is wonderful. And we can also easily get rid of one. So that is wonderful, wonderful, wonderful stuff. I'm not going to do much. You can style this whole thing if you want to. But the best thing now is, if you click on done, and you're like, okay, hold on, I want to test this thing now. Let's have a look what happens. And this is the freakiest, coolest thing in the world. Look at that now. This is so cool. Look at what happens to the anchor. There you go. It is fully animated. And as you can see, the VFX will be animated too. So we have got some bubbles in the air now, because the whole thing will be splashing bubbles the whole time. And you can see these crazy big round things will also work accordingly. And that is just... I mean, you need to check, because obviously with the anchor, that's a bit of an odd one right now. You would need, if you want to have it realistic, you obviously need to make sure that you do test drive this eventually and have a look at everything works just properly. But the sheer ability of doing it is ridiculous, and also this ride is pretty insane. But I'm blown away by the amount of customizabilities you can add to these rides. It is absolutely gorgeous, and I'm a huge fan of it. But my friends, this is almost it about Flatrides, because there's really not that more to talk about. You put them down, you build like your stuff around them, and that's it, you know. The track ride, as you can see here with the river rapids, obviously they come in with a lot of different things, you know. But again, it's nothing too shocking. Also, you can edit terrain around these things as well. As you can see, you can even edit terrain in here, which you can say scenery lock or whatever, and then if you put scenery in here, it wouldn't go into it, but as this is a ride, it still goes. But you could do the easy thing and just like bring this up to... Can the steam thingies go away? I have a bug. I can't get rid... I'm not sure if you see that in here too. I think you will. But I have a little bug. I can't get rid of the desktop notifications, which is very odd. And I'm very sorry that this is in. But yeah. So you can then obviously do the following. You can even hide this all in. But I'm just doing this for the sake of showcasing something. So if we just go and make all of this being sunken in like this... You then could obviously go in and make like a very tiny one like so. Lower this down and then go into the flatten to foundation area. And then you can paint around here to make this very nice looking. So just to make sure that your ride is fully nicely covered in water again. But you can also, obviously, this is also a way of, if you search for a good... I'm not sure if we can... So this is in the water. So let's see if we can... find the right height. So this is a good height. You can even change how it looks below the water. So as you can see, I looked for a height now that is even in the surface still, and then you can also go in and change the color. So if I'm doing this, you can see there is slightly changing below water, and you can also, with like the reddish one, you can see the red tint coming through, or the soil, you know, making sure that everything looks like that. It's just a tiny thing I wanted to quickly show you. Nothing major. Let's go to 6 meters to make our life a bit more easy, and also increase the intensity a little. So this way you can easily create a natural looking river rapids. Just put a the terrain around and then just get rid of the terrain in the center of the ride. This is the easiest way of doing it. If you don't do it that quick like I do, and you do this a bit more carefully with a smaller sized brush, you will also get better results at you know, at the sides. But I feel like this is really cool. You can do the same thing with all track rides. They can actually go underground as well, and you can do the same with the stations, so you can adjust the stations to your liking. So if you want to get this higher up, they will not go into the station, which is good, so you can search for the perfect height and then do the flattened to terrain down here if you want to build the path in a nicer way. So I'm just gonna do this here, and now obviously it will be way more easy for you to place the entrance, which I'm gonna do here, and place the exit on this side, and then you, as always, would connect them to the pathway. So very much obvious. That's been it for the flat ride part of things, and this part of the tutorial is going to be the core of this game. Yeah, you listened to me now for, I don't know, 3 hours already. I have no idea how long this tutorial will be at this point. Feels like an eternity. We're going to build a coaster, because this is the core of this game. Building roller coasters. As in all of the other segments, you will have the chance to plop down some blueprints. As you can see, there is one over here that I want to have in this park just for the sake of showcasing, and we're going to have this one be here. This is a blueprint which comes already, and this is why I wanted to place this specific one down, with a path addition to it. You can see there is already the queue, and we're going to align this properly to this side here, and there you can see there is the connection. Oh yeah, that actually matches perfectly. I'm not even sure why there is... Oh, the scaling option is actually for the scenery pieces within the blueprint. That is interesting. So can we... Yeah, it's 102%. It doesn't matter. Now you click it down and it is already perfectly aligned. Also, this one doesn't have any power, which is something you can fix just as we've had it before. Go on the right, there is add a power facility. Then you will have access to the power facilities. We're gonna build a distributor, which comes right next to the station, just kind of part of the station here. Hello, there you go. And I'm gonna connect this to the grid as we did over here, and your ride will be powered. Easy as it goes. Now you would obviously, as always, need to test the coaster. We're gonna quickly do this and hit the play button so it can do the thing. And then we have this little path, one of our previous tests and previous tutorials. So what we're gonna do is we are going to get rid of this part of the path over here, because we don't need this. To make sure that the coaster looks a bit nicer. And then we can already build our very own coaster if we fancy doing so. While I'm going to quickly fix this corner of the path over here, because I just don't like how it looks. You can see the ride is doing its test ride, and just gonna fix that one over here. And oops, there's just that individual queue on top. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the queues and I'm going to say delete. Can I? Okay, this is now completely gone. Weird stuff. I thought I would be deleting everything. It doesn't matter. I'm just gonna quickly solve this minor issue by putting path over here. Now, this has been tested, and obviously now you can already open the ride. Simple as that. So the ride is done and looks quite okay. You've got the ride over here. People can go in, people can queue. They can't reach river after. Yeah, because we haven't opened them. But what we want to do, we want to build a coaster, and therefore we are going to go into the coaster tab again, and this time we will click on custom coaster. It's going to bring us in that menu, and in this menu we have a lot of different options. We've got the chain lift rides, we've got launched rides, we've got alternate lift, which means push tires mostly, we've got a suspended one, we've got, or not one, we actually have 5 different suspended ones. There are some inverted ones by that are flying coasters. We've got the inverted 4-seater, we've got the inverted 2-seater from Giovanni. We also have the Momentum, which is a boomerang coaster, but what we want to do is the flying coaster, because the Stingray design still exists, which is the one from inspired by real life. But in a second we go there. I'm going to show the rest of the tabs. We have a whole bunch of wooden ones, which are pretty cool. As you can see, there are a couple of really cool wooden ones. I also like the fact that the RMCs are both in here, even though one of them is fully steel. We've got wing coasters that come with the different versions. We've got water rides, and we've got special rides that have a different thing. There's like this would be a pro tutorial. I'm not going to make these rides because they are actually very pro because there's a lot more going on to the coaster. We are building a normal coaster first of all, so that will hopefully put you in a position to be able to build a proper coaster. I'm not the best at building coasters, but I know how the game works, so that should be enough for a tutorial. But I'm going to say that right away. If you're here for like full 100% realism, I unfortunately cannot deliver this because I'm not that much of a pro. I'm still learning. I'm still becoming a better coaster builder. But yeah, as with all good coasters, we're going to plop down a station first. While I do this, I'm gonna sip a little drink of my tea to still be able to do this tutorial for you. So just gonna sink that in like so. It's gonna be aligned to the bottom. And no, we are not going to start with a lift, because I want to do a bit of a different layout for you. So we can do several things in this game. What I can do is I can just click here to the normal track, and because I assume, first of all, that you guys have never been built a coaster, this is the sake of a tutorial, and if you have done that, obviously you will just skip over to where the info that you need is. But for those of you who've never played a game like this or have to build, this is the interface you are greeted with. And you have a couple of options. Down here you've got 4 icons. They do several things. The upper one is a banking. You can rotate your track piece around the center core of its beam, so to say, to make the coaster rotate around its own axis. You can also do a banking offset. This is the slider on this side. Unfortunately, at the moment, this thing is tucked to 1 meter and also is like actually 2 meters, but it is snapped to the different meter variants. And you can see now, since this is a flying coaster, it works a bit differently because it actually also lengthens your piece. But what it also does, and this is what I'm going to quickly show you, if we stay on the center, I'm gonna go to 0 again, you will see your track piece is exactly centered around the center piece. If I do get rid of the banking fully, back to 0, you can see this is how this thing looks. If I then change the banking offset over here again, you will see, first of all, nothing happens, but as soon as I do bank the coaster, it starts to slide to both sides, as you can see. Now, if I do it this way, it'll go all the way up. If I change the banking offset again, it'll go all the way down. The reason for that is this will offer you to shape your coaster in a different way. So if I would now bend this into this direction, this will then cause it to go down and bend a little bit more in that direction, causing me to get a good invert idea. So I built this right now because this is the way I want to do it, and I'm just going to rotate this again, and you will see it's going to give you a bit of a proper way, but then this piece needs to be smoothed out a bit later on. And now you can do this. If I get rid of the banking, you will see my piece is going to be less aggressive on the way how much it is set away from the center core. This is actually the idea to get a proper hard lining effect into the game, but the problem is it doesn't really work like this because it's harder to get the shaping right. But the idea about this is exactly this. There is a difference in coaster buildings in the way how you line this. So if you hard line a coaster, and what this means is you line the movement of the coaster around the center of a body, of a human body. So basically what is rotated is not the coaster around its own track, but rather you as a person are rotated around your own center. And this is what the banking offset can help you with. If I completely described that correctly here in English, I hope I did. So this is what you can do with this. And we are doing a rotation over here, 1, and bring this whole thing down. And now the whole coaster would be upside down now, which is exactly what I wanted to do. And then we go into a bit of a different roll now that is going to turn this thing back around. You could do this in the same direction. That would be a bit of an odd one, but we are going to turn this thing around again. So like so. We can't just do this properly. Sometimes you need to do it this way. And then next up, we can just bring this back into the correct orientation. So this is how I wanted to start the coaster. Let's have a look at the banking and shaping. Okay, we're gonna bring this over a little like so. This could work pretty nicely though if we smooth this out correctly. I don't want to go too crazy into the build now, but we're going to swing this thing around a little bit more nicely though. People have already been put on a little journey here with me. And you can obviously, as always, increase the length of your piece. And this game favors, at least I feel like so at the moment, it favors longer pieces. So don't hesitate to build with longer pieces. Now I'm gonna bring this back up straight. And from over here, shorten the piece, bring that already a little bit in an incline, and now we can build a chain lift. A little bit different to the Flatrides and the track rides that sometimes have the issue that you can't adjust the level of incline. So for example, the River Rapids has a fixed angle of incline. In here, you are free to change whatever you want. You can get this one up to 60 degrees, or you just make a very subtle one of like 4 degrees. For whatever reason you would do this. But we go with like a typical one, yeah, something around 30-ish degrees. A little bit lower. So that goes there, and then we are going to build this. Okay, I did now explain the basics of a coaster build for you, and I'm not going to make this like awfully long and do this with every single piece, so we are talking about the build right now. So I'm gonna bring this all the way up, bring this back to 0. This is now the coaster being relatively high. You know, actually, let's go one less higher because I don't want to make the coaster too intense. And then you can obviously go into the coaster. You can either then just go a little bit like this and then still have this chain lift. Like this is a little trick that some coaster types do, and this is a B&M type, and they sometimes do this, that you have this little bump after the lift hill, which will then release the coaster a bit more gently because you still have that last bit of chain lift keeping you towards this set speed of the chain lift. And then after that one, it just then automatically goes into the normal track. You could still force it to do the chain lift, then you get also the engine be a bit higher up, but we don't want this. We do it that way. Oh, that's a fun bit, how to get it up there, by the way. Anyways, we've done that, and from over here, as I said, I'm gonna work a little bit with longer pieces and just gonna bring this thing go down, and we're going to start with a bit of a roll. Obviously, speaking of loops and rolls, you do have the option to choose from a menu again. You can scale them up and down if you want to, so this one wouldn't technically work because that's too small. You can rotate this in any direction you want to. They come with a lot of different variants of rolls and loops and whatnot. We also have like rolls, as I was just saying. You can click yourself through. I mean, there's like a enormous menu to just quickly click a coaster together. Some of these rolls also look very odd, to be honest. Like, I'm not sure what this is, and I'm not sure if that will ever go nicely. You can, some of them have a very nice radius in scaling them. This one doesn't, apparently. Yeah, as I said, you have a whole bunch of rolls if you don't want to shape them yourself, and if you don't want to build the elements yourself. You have a mighty amount of elements in this game, and then again, you can scale them up and down. You can change the orientation of them. You can see the connector piece then does some weird things. And also, you can have non-inverted elements like helixes and upper areas, lower areas, upper helixes, lower helixes, upper segments like this, and so on and so forth. I could talk forever now. You know what? We're just gonna do a small helix over here. I'm not sure if that one will be working, but potentially it does. So I'm gonna get this thing a chance. I'm not gonna get this thing a chance because it looks awful. But I just wanted to quickly show that this is how it works. Okay, so you've got all these elements, but I want to quickly build this coaster myself. So what we're going to work with is a little bit of a double dip down. I just wanna go once up and then dip down again into then corner. And again, I'm gonna just build a very simple coaster. Once you, one thing you can do to check if everything works right, you can then go to testing and start the test. Now the coaster will actually do a test while you are building, so you always have the idea if everything goes to plan or not. So the coaster leaves the station, goes already into this weird inversion we built over here, which doesn't even look that bad at the moment. So then it goes all the way into the chain lift. All right, you've seen that, and now we can keep on building because we want to know if the coaster makes it through here. Again, as I said earlier, I want to build a bit more with these longer pieces. And one thing that changed a bit to the first game is sometimes, according to how you build, the previous segment will also bend accordingly to what you do. So let me see if I can force this game to do it. No, this time not. Okay, the pace is pretty damn good. So you can see then it will also leave the track. And I'm not sure if sometimes the game will adjust. Yeah, accordingly. Here you can see that. Like if you do bend, for example, something too crazy, the previous piece will adjust to that. This is also why I think the game is a bit more smooth. I know that the previous game did this too, but not in the same way. At least that is my impression so far. So this is where the flying coaster goes up. I want to do it a bit of a switchback here into an element that goes over the station. I want to have like an overbanked, a very overbanked turn here. Let's do this very overbanked. Let's see if we can go to the same height and bring this one down again, just over the station. That's going to be a very cool interaction with the brake run later on. And then I want to see if I can have this rotate around this piece of the track over here. Let's see if we have enough speed. Oh yeah, that's a gentle way of going over, and then this roll potentially will be very cool because it's going to be a downward roll that is going to feature this rotation around its own track. And I think I may be able to dip below. This is where I'm going to use the auto tunnel mode again at actually 4 meters is the little, okay, the least, okay, whatever, I'm gonna do this. So we have this roll, and then we're gonna bring this all the way down here, because the problem is that would be very unsecure with the rest of it. So let's see if we can shape this at least a little bit more different here. So maybe do the roll a bit more like so. And then, oh wait, this is not even a roll. I need to go back into this direction then. So here comes that, and now from the piece and try to get it. Let's see if it does make it though. Just gonna quickly go to the piece to see. Yeah, that looks very cool indeed. And as we have the auto tunnel activated, it should now change the terrain for us. Yes, it does. Look, that is fantastic. Also, I'm just gonna pause the game because the music is interfering the whole time. That's actually quite annoying. So there you go. I'm just gonna dip out of here again. Very crazy interaction, and then just do a very interesting element again here, just with a little switchback. We go into a helix, and then we find ourselves looking for the end of the coaster. Obviously, when you hit pause, that will mean that the coaster doesn't test anymore. I mean, that should be obvious, but just to say, this is how that works. Okay, let's do a bit of a shorter run here. There you go. Rotate around. And then we're gonna see if we can find our way back to the station. Now, let's do another overbank turn here. Just gonna switch into the other direction already. And then we're gonna make like a very interesting element for the guests to look at. Maybe we can even put like some water fountains below. And then this should be good to go. Now, let's have a look. I'm not sure how much pace we still have, so I'm gonna bring this down. This should already be more than enough. It shouldn't have much more pace than this. And from over here, now this is the moment where you want to build from the back of the station, because you want to have a nice brake run that is also slightly inclined. Now what you do is you go to the edit mode now. And in the edit mode, you click on this back area here on the coaster. I'm just going to do that again so you see what I did. So go to the edit mode. We're editing over here, and from over here you go once more to the edit mode. Normally that will allow you to smooth out the coaster, but you can then also go to continue building in the edit mode, and therefore you can press either on the one that is going forward or the one that is going backwards. And this is what we do. What I do over here is I'm going to go into the friction brakes, and I'm going to actually, first of all, you know what I'm doing? I'm going to all the way down. I'm going to turn this thing into a block section. A block section, I'm going to quickly explain what that is. And while we do so, I'm going to have a bit of a incline here. Not much, just a little. And then we're going to enlarge this piece. All right, this is not good. This is not good at all. Okay, anyways, then we do it without an incline. Yeah. And then we need to just bring our coaster back into the station like this. And hope for the best we can do. There you go, we can actually connect this and confirm. All right, now a block section. What is a block section? A block section is actually a piece of track that is basically a checking point for your coaster. Meaning, once one train makes it through one part of your coaster and is securely into the next part of the coaster, it passes through a block section, and the block section then will send a signal to the station that the next train or whatever is coming next is allowed to go into the first part of the layout. Therefore, you can separate your layout into many pieces, and sometimes this helps to have more trains operating at the same time, because in most rides you will need this type of security, because otherwise you will have a problem of having coasters crashing into each other. So let's say you don't have a block section that checks mark that everything is working, you know, then, and you have your coaster, it goes down in here, everything is fine. You release that one into the lift hill, and then apparently we have a bad day, bad weather, whatever, and your train doesn't make this turn over here and gets stuck, and then eventually rolls back, and the other train is just coming down. They both will crash on the lowest point, and that would be devastating. And this is exactly why block sections exist, and this is the reason why you would need to put them in. This is a short coaster, you know, it's not very long, and the reason why I'm putting a block section over here is because the block beginning, this is where the block is, determines where the first car of the train will be, and so I want that this car is going to be hold here, and the moment it just stucks here, this coaster can go in. Meaning, and this is somehow how load and unload stations would technically function, the signal comes a little earlier than the train goes into the station, because technically at the moment the only block section we have is the station, and we would need to have space for two. I could enlarge the station or do it this way around over here. Now, a couple of things we need to do first before we are done with this coaster tutorial. We need to smooth the coaster, because we haven't talked about this. There is a new smooth option in the game, and you can smooth now in many different ways. We are going to lower the smooth strengths, which is a new feature. You now have a strength of smoothing, and we lower this down to 4. You can have a smooth direction. We're going to go to forward, because then it will always go in steps. The steps are defined by how many elements you've selected. At the moment, I've got 2 elements selected, and it will always go once forward. You can do this yourself with this little icon. You can push the elements always by 2 forward, or you can let the game do the trick. This is basically done exactly like a mod was working in Planet Coaster 1. Very, very handy, because then it will smooth the whole coaster by the same amount. You can do this forwards or backwards, or none. None will always let you smooth the same piece over and over again. And then you have different types. Smooth a turn means that it only smoothes the turning angle in a way. If you have the height, it smoothes out the height difference on your 2 pieces. And if you have the banking, it'll smooth the 2 pieces according to the banking of the track. And if you have all, it'll do all at the same thing. All is obviously the option that you use if you just want to start smoothing, and if you want to get more granular, you can use the individual ones if you want to. So we're gonna start with all and see what the game does, and you can see it automatically jumps 1 step forward. There you can see. This is how it does. Now I want to go backwards to it and see if we can do it again. And now once you are at the station, it says done. Okay, so these pieces look already a bit nicer, but I want to have these 2 specifically smoothed now in turn. Alright, this is good. Now I want to have the height smoothed to see how the shaping goes. Actually, height smoothing seems to be good. And now let's see if the banking smooth does anything. Doesn't really do much. Okay, now next up is this one. And again, we are doing, first of all, the height. That is doing some good work. And then we're going to do the banking to see if that changes much. It doesn't. What about the turn? Okay, well, it moves the whole track a little. Let's see if that is good. Yeah, that's actually kind of good. And now let's go to the next one. We're going to smooth it again. And let's see if there's anything working. I think this is pretty damn good. Let's smooth the height as well. And then we're going to go for the next 2 pieces, which will be those. Smooth the height as well. And we are also going to smooth the banking. And we do the same thing over here again. Like, these are smaller pieces. You could also change more if you want to have a better connection to the later pieces. I'm going to do exactly this. And I'm going to smooth the banking on all these. Going to smooth all once, and then I'm going to go and smooth the turn. Now, as we are talking about an entire turn, it makes sense to select the whole turn and then smooth the selected turn. smooth the height if needed, and the banking. This is how you basically smooth a coaster. And this first element looks a lot better now. And what I'm going to do real quick, just to showcase how this works, is we're going to go to all, going to go forwards, make this a bit stronger, you know, hopefully it doesn't mess up too much. And then we're going to say smooth, 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 and the smooth option will smooth out all of your elements. It may sometimes change this a little bit more dramatic. This over here doesn't work because we seem to extend some track limits, which means some of these things might be a little bit too harsh. Maybe it's the banking, maybe it's the change of direction. I don't know what exactly it is. But then also sometimes if you figure, okay, this overbank turn might be too high, it's not going to make it, you can select this area, bring it all down. And once you're happy with this and you see the entrance into that is not good, you just select that area and you say go to none and then just smooth until you're happy with it, okay? This is easy as it goes, and some elements are not fine for me right now. So this one over here is a bit too close actually to the other one. So what I'm doing is I'm going to select those 3 pieces and I'm adjusting the height, okay? And then obviously the roll over here, I don't like how this looks, okay? So what I'm going to do first of all is I'm going to smooth the height to see if that does anything in particular. Well, that is okay. But now next up is the banking, and next up is the all once more to see what that does. It's kind of okay. Let's add this one to it. Okay, well this seems to be kind of nice. It shows you now how the whole thing rotates. It's not the bestest ever, to be honest, but it's good enough for the sake of the tutorial. All right, we are successful in our build, in the layout. It's a rather decent one. It's okay. And then we're gonna put this to test. We're gonna put the entrance. We're gonna put the exit. As always, as you are used to knowing that, and then you need to hit play, obviously. And obviously, in the tutorial, we will also write this real quick because this is part of getting to know if it works. We are going to use the bumper cam to see how about the smoothing. So we are just going in. Yeah, that is a bit bumpy there. That's a bit bumpy, a bit rough. Would need to be smoothed even more. We go into the lift hill. If you are impatient like I am, you can just increase the speed and then decrease the speed. You have O on your keyboard is the hotkey, by the way. And if you haven't changed that, you can now change all these things individually. And now let's have a look how the coaster works. Okay, we go up a little bit here, double dip, go down at a strong pacing. That is a rough turn. Weird banking. Should be changed. This roll over here is rather nice. Very nice flying effect. Go all the way down here, up again. Yeah, that's a rather good transition. I like that one. And then we go through this helix into that turn. Could have been an overbank turn. Okay, the exit is rather rough as well. And then the speed back into the station is actually pretty perfect. Okay, just for perfecting your skills, we are doing exactly those 2 things I saw. We are going to make this thing way higher again. Okay, so that's that. And smooth the selected piece out. And then this turn over here I didn't like entirely. So I'm going to use the whole thing. I'm going to say only the banking, please. I'm going to smooth the whole stuff out of it. And let's go all the way high to the highest to see if that works somehow. Let's see about this. I think what we could do is we could also increase the banking over here a bit to make this transition a bit more fun. And then that should be good. And also what we're going to do is we're going to smooth these things out a bit more. So I'm going to select all of them again once more. And I'm going to say smooth banking and smooth all once. Okay, well done. Sometimes it does get rid of the shaping entirely, as you've seen. I want to stick to the shaping, obviously. So let's see if it did obviously already destroy the first attempt. So we're going to do height first. That is a much better height for me. That was a good one. And now this transition down here is mostly the issue. This one is really odd. So I'm going to say a little bit less than this. I'm going to say banking. Okay, that doesn't change anything. If I go to all, that changes it how I need it to. And let's see if there's some more. Yeah, I mean, this part over here is very rough indeed. So we're going to need to smooth all of this. Looks better to me. Let's see how the train behaves. Yeah, okay. Well, the biggest issue is that the banking over here doesn't rotate accordingly. So we would need to get a bit more banking in to get this a bit more nice and smooth that out so it's not as aggressive anymore. And also the turn is a little bit too hard, okay? But overall, it's quite okay because it does make it slow through here. Click on done, and then we just jump in one more time to see if we improved a little bit. Obviously, we need to have the same camera. Let's see if this one improved a bit. So we are rotating. That is a lot nicer now. And yeah, we still have that little bump, but the rest is better. Is a lot better. Is a lot better. I can deal with that. And then we go up the hill again. Let's see. Increase the speed. And then let's go all the way up and down. And let's have a look how that turns out at the end of the day. To have a proper tutorial for you how also to fix your rides, how to smooth them better. Yeah, that transition now is much better. I like it a lot. I like it a lot. This over here is a bit more wonky. Would need to fix that as well. But I like this roll. This roll is rather smooth as well. Then we go here. The transition is nice. We go to the helix. And then we have a look if the overbank turn now is much better. Yeah, look at that. We go higher up. The altitude, yeah, that's good. It changes a lot more. And then you go back into the station. It's good enough. You know, there's a lot I could improve about that one. But to fix it fully, we obviously need to get the pathing in. So we're going to connect our queue over here and the normal path. Going to use the line builder. Sometimes you need to be a bit more careful. But a good bit is, and I think that should... Let's have a look if that works. What happens if I do this? Okay, well, that is some odd stuff. Sometimes you need to be a bit more tricky, and you just use the draw tool, and then you can curve that thing around here. I'm just going to do this up until here. That should be good. Straight piece, and then it should allow me to... Okay, hello? There you go. And then you've actually done this. And it's kind of fun. Sometimes you need to do it this way, and now you could use the line builder from over here and bring the whole thing down. Obviously, you're going to make this in the curve tool, and then just like bring this down. And we could also curl that around here if we want to, but I don't want to. I'm just going to bring this... Hold on. Why is this so odd? I think I'm going to bring this down here, and then all the way down here. Back to our path. You know, easy as it goes. We have a bit of a staircase in here. If you want to fix some of these things, as always, I've shown that to you. You edit the stuff on the go. You know, if you're like, this is too close to my queue, you can basically... I should be able to move that a little away. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. You know, with staircases, it is a little bit more complicated, but it does do the job. Yeah, okay, well, it's kind of connected over here. Let's undo this. This looks better without. And then your coaster is connected. It has passed all the tests it needs, and it has no power. And as always, we're adding a facility. Down here should be where we need to put it. Oops, I should have just pressed the right button and connected. And now it's connected. Oh, that's actually flying. Let's move this thing down, shall we? And just like so. And the cable connection still stays, which is kind of cool. And now your coaster is done, and now you can open your coaster. As always, the ride operator magically appears, still has no job. And your coaster is done, guys. Look at that. We have built successfully our flying coaster. You learned basically everything about coasters you need to know. Again, there's much more about special elements and so on, but that would be something for a advanced tutorial. Now, this is the moment where we are going to the next part of our tutorial. Next up, we are going to deal with stations and queues, because as in every good theme park, we need something like this in here too. And the reason for that is that queues will obviously guide your people into the dedicated ride. So you can see we have a coaster over here that already has a queue, but it's not attached to the path. We do have a river rapids here in the back that we have built, and obviously is not connected, and the same goes for the Flatride. And we're going to do 3 different variants of how you can deal with that. So over here we already have a dedicated exit that goes to that way over here. And what I want to do is I want to make the queue basically go into this area, but we need to have a little bit of a zigzag and put a tiny roof above it, okay? So what we're gonna do, we just double click on the path over here. That'll bring up the menu for queues immediately. If you click on path and then go there, you have to click the second item over here, which means queues. You can see then the amount of tools you have is unfortunately limited a little bit, so it goes down to the line builder, the classic path, and the customize brush. If you click that one, you do have different elements over here, as you can tell. There are different textures than from the normal path. I'm going to show you real quick. Go to the normal path back here. You do have this, okay? That's a bit of a different way how it works. Now, we are going to go back to the queues and we are using the line builder. As of over here, you still can build freely, as you can see. You can turn the curve into a straight line and then you will always have a straight line, and you can turn the angle snap on and off. Unfortunately, in here it seems not to work with spacebar, so that means you will have to do this yourself. Now, we're going to bring this over here, and once we're here, I'm going to turn on the angle snap. And now you can see, if I go around, it just snaps nicely. And then you can also drag it all the way over here to make like a kettle pen kind of style. Just gonna do this, and like that. And then we're also going to go all the way back to here. And then, once entering your path, you can see it is tucked like this. But if you're holding down Y on your keyboard, it'll always, or Z, depending on which language setting you have, this is gonna bring in the 90-degree angle connection. If you release the key, you will see you will be able to just intersect with the path as you would like to. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have this actually this time around for 90-degree entrance over here. Nice. Okay, you've built that, but what if you want to edit this little kettle pan over here? Well, you can double click again on here, but now you will go back to the normal path. And then the edit tool is also available on your queue. So let's say we want to move that a little bit further back. You just click on that and then you can drag this all out, and you see already the slide outline does tell you where certain things go. Like if you release that over here, bam, you can see certain things have changed. It just adjusted a little bit to the side. I would recommend to make sure to avoid that first of all. Let's see if we can avoid that. That should be good, yes. And now I'm going to only take this little point. You can either take the whole area like with pathing, or you can just have one node. And then we're gonna drag the node to the side. But I'm gonna do this one more time. Just gonna drag the node all the way down here, and I'm gonna do the same with the other one. Just gonna bring this up over here. And so you have a bit like this. You can then obviously search for this node and try to clean that up a little. So this is how it works. I mean, we could also try, just real quick, to just do that again. Go back to the normal path, oops, and use the edit tool. Just make sure to click it. Sometimes it's a bit nitty, but you know, just move that over. That's kind of fine the way it is. And then we have it that way. And then we can do the same over here. Take that one, drag it all straight, and then hopefully sometimes you need to just do it a couple times until you're happy. Sometimes it's a bit wonky. I really hope they fix this to get a proper setting to make it straight. You can get the grips of it and just make it as long or as soon as you have it, you're basically fine, and then just leave it as is. But you can actually do this, and you can also, which sometimes is also very helpful, make the whole queue wider if you want to. This is relatively easy though. Instead of the nitty-gritty stuff, you just choose a lot more, and then you move it further out, and then you can see the path is getting wider. You have to see that the connection remains valid, but there you go. So you've got a bit of a wider path here. So you're not limited to the 2 meter as it comes with, but that's it. Now, in order to build like a little bit of canopy over here, because this is part of the game now, it is relatively important for when it's raining. People favor to go on rides that at least have some kettle pens. What I'm going to do over here is I'm going to take a roof, just plop that easily over here, just simply like that. And then we are going to make some pillars to the outside. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in pillar, and then, oops, there you go. I'm going to use actually the grid piece, and I'm going to go all the way down to 1 meter. And I'm going to select, kind of try to get this in here. I think this is fine. Once more in, and I want to make this thing like super dark gray. Yeah, that's fine. I'm going to plop one here, here, and I'm just going to copy those two over to the other side, so in parallel. Then I'm going to release the building, you know, and now I'm going to use the advanced move to put it over so it fits. bam, easy as it goes, and you've got a nice little roof over your kettle pan. I mean, you can make this nicer by getting some cross beams in here too to make it look a bit more realistic, but you know, that was just like for a simple method of making your queue a bit more nice for the guest in terms of having a bit of rain or so. You could then make smaller ones like this up here too, and you can then obviously go into stations and make stations. But it's more easy to make stations look nice because you can just go into the scenery and then type in wall, and we're going to make this a proper nice station up next. And therefore we are going to use, actually, what's that wall? This is a corrugated. No, I don't want to go with the corrugated. I want to use this bamboo wall. This should be fine. Now you can also just align that with the station, as you can see over here. You want to click this, and now it is on the grid of the station. Makes building very simple. And then you can also adjust the color. I want to have this bamboo more in this color. I think that's fine. And you can also use other pieces like this rounded kind of opening over here, kind of a gate, and you can put this around your station and just make sure that you have that around those two, so that's fine. And what I like to do then is you can also use these kind of little things if you want to, but I am going to use a proper wall, so that's what we do. Put this wall on both sides actually, so that it's perfectly aligned. Nice. And what we're going to do, because we want to keep it over here very simple, we're going to go to roof, and we're going to select a roof that we like. I'm going to keep it fairly simple over here, okay, because we don't have the time to go very crazy in. So this is a metal corrugate. I think I don't want to have this one. Is there something? Yeah, let's use, obviously we are in a tropical environment, why not? We're going to use this thatched roof. So what we're going to do, we're going to bring this up here, and the same on the other side like this, and then let's see if we can find a good middle piece. If that is already enough, yes, that's fine. So let's see, that's wonderful. Obviously not as realistic because we would need a cross beam, so let's type in wood, and let's see if we can find something. I think, yeah, this one is properly big, so we're going to use this. And you can also, as we learned with the building, align that to the center, press F to find the centerpiece, and then we're going to bring this up so it is a little bit above our track over here, and then we're just going to copy that over. 1 and 2. Oh, does that fit? Yeah, that's fit. And then we're gonna also, whoops, and we want to have angle snap activated. Press spacebar on your, oh wait, sorry, that was stupid. I should just redo that. There you go. And have the angle snap activated. Rotate the whole thing. You might want to scale this down a little so it fits and on both sides, so it technically is a bit more of a stable one. We are just going to make like a very simple station, okay? And I'm going to select all of that now, and I'm going to get rid of this wall piece over here because we want to keep that gate somehow. And then I'm just going to copy this over a couple times, so until we have the whole station nicely covered in roofs. There you go. And now just to finish that off, I'm just going to bring in the walls over here. As you can see, there's a last bit that's not like perfectly fine, but you can always choose like to go for bamboo. And then there is a half piece that you can use. It's that one. I didn't want to favor it. I wanted to go here, so here goes nothing. And we're just gonna align that real quick. Just nothing too crazy, but just making sure that this gap over here is filled in. There we go. And then you would technically need to get rid of this problem over here, so you can then also have like one that goes horizontal like so, and just adjust this over here so it kind of makes the whole thing more realistic. And there you go. You got your station building. Obviously over here that wouldn't function, you know. Maybe you would need then to get rid of the roof here and make like a flat roof as there. So we're gonna say again, thatched was kind of what we had. Is there like something flat? Let's have a look. Yes, there's like a flat roof. Let's drop that one in here, so that's a bit more nice and accurate, and so that wouldn't bump into there. And we are done. Look, that's been very simple. Obviously the station doesn't look great, okay? Also here we would need to have these two and plop them into the ground a bit nicer. And also over here we could close the station off if we want for the side, so just have the coaster a bit more hidden away. Again, it's not a beautiful station by any means. We could do certain little things like this, make this a bit more interesting to look at, you know. But the idea to kind of cover the station, you get the grips of it. If you want to build better, obviously the part for advanced building will be very helpful for you. But there is the last thing I want to show you for stations and queues, as this chapter is called. Well, we have a bit of flicker over here. I want to show you something special that I've seen lately. Therefore, we need to place the exit and entrance the other way around. We're going to have this one in the back here. And what we're going to do now is we are going to level the terrain over here, because I want to have this a level playing field for us to play with. So let's do it that way. Like this, and then we are going to use the, no, not the chisel, to flatten the surface and make like a, oops, that's way too, there you go, a bit more of a subtle ramp, and then we're going to smooth the rest out so that this is a bit more nice. Yeah, that should be enough. What we're going to do now is we're going to build a normal classic path that leads up to the station. Just going to follow the way here. And then we are going to attach that to the exit. So, but now what's interesting with the entrance is that people will also now queuing on the normal path. That means you can now switch over to an asphalt path, and then we are going to go for the line builder, going to go down for 4 meters. And this is going to be very interesting now, because we can also have the angle snap turned on. And now what we do, we're building basically a normal path, like as if we would build a queue. The problem is, as you can see over here, once you take the normal path, it's creating always a big old area like this. So what you need to do is you need to have at least a little step in between, you know, so that just kind of creates your queue area in a way if you want to. So I'm going to just quickly build this so you guys get an idea of how that works. I'm going to bring this all the way up here. So if that's done, you will see that still this acts almost like a queue. It's taking a while, so I'm going to show you. Alright, so you can see people are using the pathway as a normal queue, almost. I want to say normal, but it's not like a normal queue, because some people will also go back eventually out of this area, so it's not a dedicated queue area. But as you can see, it does work like a queue. So as soon as enough people gathered together, this will become a queue. I thought this is going to be a mega, because you didn't just kind of draw like a huge plaza and people will queue. And you can, you know, utilize the curbs and barriers to do so. But eventually, if you've got too many people on a normal path, people will then start to go away because they don't want to wait without a queue. So keep that in mind. If you have rides that have a good push through and where you don't need that long of a queue, you can utilize this trick over here. But if you don't, and you have situations like that, because now if I want to do a normal queue path out of here, you can obviously stick that just on top of the normal path. I'm just going to do it exactly like so. You will see that in a second. They will go in here. At the moment, we don't have a staff member, which is the reason why no one is going in. But yeah, that's that. And the last but not least, you can also have rides like this. And if you open that, you don't even need to build anything. If it's put on a plaza like this, people will go in, and eventually, if they don't want to, and let's quickly check if these people, what were the thoughts of them. This path is so gross. Okay, well, actually, well, yeah, they don't want to go on here because of whatever. I don't have bins. This is why the park is a bit of a mess, so no, don't mind this. But yeah, so this is the perfect situation to go on to our next part of this video and of this tutorial, because there's something we need to solve in every park. So the next part of our tutorial series is going to be, or of our mega tutorial, is going to be staff and staff zones, because you can see we have a couple of issues, intentional issues in this park that I haven't been dealing with so far. So we have a couple of destroyed rides. We do have a problem that not many staff members go somewhere, and so on and so forth. So you can see there's a lot of notifications we have to deal with, a lot of ride issues. People can't reach certain areas, so they can't reach the swimming pool apparently and get stuck somewhere in here. So that's nothing to do with the tutorial, by the way. This is just, basically because they can't get away from here. But we can just quickly fix that by putting a path just around here and let them rejoin on this area. Now that's a little bit of a fixed problem now. So you can, we have dealt with that. But we are now dealing with our staff situation. So therefore, I'm just going to go into our staff management, and I'm going to plop down a couple more bigger staff areas. And now our big issue is going to be litter everywhere because we don't have any bins, and it's going to be ride operators as well as mechanics. Therefore, we are going to do the basics. What type of staff do we have? We've got janitors, we've got mechanics, we've got vendors, we've got lifeguards, we've got ride attendants, and we've got Chief Beef and all the other mascots in here, as you can tell. Now, the important bit to understand about our staff members is they will need to have breaks, and they will need to have moments of, or the distance they have to travel has to be taken into account. So what you can do now is you can either, if you have enough money, you can just basically spam them and have a bajillion of these until your problems are fixed. This is the good old way of doing it, you know. And I'm gonna put a couple down now just for the sake of doing this, before I'm gonna show you how it then works in game. So, also vendor. You need to understand also that whenever you build a building, you build a ride or you build a shop, one staff member, accordingly to the specific building you do, will be made into the game, will be plopped into the game. So whenever you put down a counter, there will be one staff member available to it. The problem is this staff member eventually will go on break. So in this time, there is no one in here. So whenever you want to have a shop like this and want to make it work over time, so there's always a staff member available, you need to ensure that at least 2 members with a opposite schedule are available. And this is the only way how you can do certain things. Also, this is horrible over here, but we are not just looking at this at this moment. So you can also see there are mechanics are doing their job. You also have the workshop where mechanics can be, doing their research, but as we are here in Sandbox, we don't need to do the research. You also need, and this is the next staff member we want to talk about, lifeguards. The same that I said earlier applies to lifeguards as well. You can see there is a tower, but no one is in here because the one member that was automatically generated is obviously on a break right now. So this is the main reason why you would need more staff members eventually. Also, I'm just figuring that there is no path connection into the lazy river area, so we just handled this now. So all these things taken into consideration eventually lead to the fact that we need to organize our staff. And this is relatively easy because from the staff area you can access both the staff schedule and the staff zones. We are going to start with the staff zones. At the moment we have no zone at all. We are going to create first of all a new zone, and we're going to color this one in blue, and we're going to name this whole zone. I think we can name this relatively soon, or we can label this as a pool. And now we can paint over this area very simply. I love this new feature. It is so simple. We're just gonna paint over our pool area, and this is already our staff zone. It's simple as it goes. Very simple to do. And now we just click done, and the zone 1 is created. We then can also create a new zone, and therefore we can now say this zone is going to be a coaster. And then we're going to select another color for that. Let's go for a green, and we're gonna paint the whole coaster area now in green. So this is then the area in which the staff members will work. Usually, you would need to have a staff room in this area. So it's always easy to then just also paint our staff area as well. And I'm not sure even if I can, let's quickly see if I can do this. If I click on this zone and edit that one, if I can then also paint over here, if they share the area or not. I'm not sure if that exactly works like this, but usually this is how the zones then share the areas. Other than that, you could also just have them here and make them accessible to all of your staff members. Now, they will obviously try to find always a building in which they can make a break. So this is over here, but the staff zone is important because that's the area of work where they go to. Now, we're gonna zone everything now. Let's create a third and a fourth one. So this color is going to be for the Flatrides section in here. Just gonna make this one here. That's nice, and we're gonna label this as a Flatride. Yeah, that's fine, but the carousel icon just does the job. And then we're gonna make an entrance area. Let's see. Oh wait, first of all, done, and then create one more new area, which should be like, can we have like an entrance area or something like this? Whatever. I'm just gonna label it. What did the X there? Label that like a person, and I'm gonna make this colored mauve, whatever. Yeah. So, and then I'm gonna paint the entrance area and everything in between, so that there is also a staff area available. just like this. Okay, done. And once you have that, you can see this is how the areas are. But now what we got to do is we need to put our people on a schedule. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back into staff and schedule the people. As you can see, there is a lot going on. You can here see the different staff categories, and we are doing this only for one category, so this applies the same way to all the ones. I'm going to go to the mechanics because we do have our mechanics over here. So this is the first one I'm gonna deal with. And now if you click on the person, you will get a lot of info about these persons. As you can see over here, this is where they are. And now if you go to the staff schedule, you can see we only have the schedule of this dedicated person. Now, as you can see at the moment, the work is set to default, but now we can put them into different advanced settings. So what we want to do, we want to go for staff zone, and we're going to call them in the zone 1 in this specific. And we're going to apply that to all day because we don't want to do this every single time. And we're going to say what service they have, service and repair. We're going to say service rights, repairs rights, service infrastructure and repair infrastructure. Yeah, you should do everything. And apply that, and we're going to confirm this, and we're gonna close it again. And oops, why didn't it do it? Advanced settings, and say apply all. This will apply, yes, confirm, and now that should actually have worked. Okay, well, I'm not sure why it's still, oh no, it did work. Okay, so I'm confused to why this still is at the default icon, but it should be now on this one. So staff zone 1 and so on, and you can see this person now has a break between 16 and 17. That's where they have a break. So what we got to do is we need to find another mechanic to apply to the same area, but we want to make sure that this person does not have a break at this time. So we're going to go to Fern Bowels, and Fern Bowels over here, we're going to click in again, advanced settings, and we're going to say staff zone number 1, apply all day, confirm, close. This way you now have applied them, and the same goes for all the others. You know, you could now go in here and then say advanced settings. Now you are going to work in zone 2, yes, confirm, and then close that one. The same goes in here, advanced setting, and you say zone 2, apply all day, confirm, blah blah blah. You get the idea. And then if you've done this, you can actually make this building type also. You can filter after building type if you want to make sure that they just do vending machines, and then vending machines are obviously done by mechanics. So this is how this works. You can also schedule view staff zones. Now you can see in which zones they are to have a bit of a better view. That helps you to see which area you did select them for. And now you can obviously do this to all the others as well, and you always have to make sure that this works. Now if you have the right attendance, obviously in the staff zones, you can use the zone 1, and this is interesting. This is a thing I've never seen, but a very interesting thing, or I'm not going to talk about this now, but this is a very interesting thing to see at least. Now for zone 1, I'm going to apply this one, and they're working in zone 1. I think that was the pool, so the pool doesn't make that much sense, but that means this ride attendant now is scheduled for all the flumes and slides. And this is how you do manage your staff across the day. Obviously, as I was just spamming things around, you would need to do this a bit more structured, I would say, over the day, because that makes a lot more sense. If you structure the day of your people accordingly, this will always improve the flow of your park a lot. Now, as we've all scheduled them, they will now roam around and do their job. You can see this janitor over here has already made its job and made its way here and does the job. Our vendors are not quite in here, so you can still see we have a vendor issue. So we're gonna plop more vendors in here too, and seeing if they are going to take over these shops. They should or not. So, you know, maybe because they're not part of the work zone, which I haven't set for the vendors as of now. But this way you can get your park up and running. As you can see over here, by the way, as well, we have one more issue because we did miss out the facility of cleaning the water, or at least the water isn't clean. And then in here you can see there is not really a filtration going on. That means what we would need to do now is to go to facilities, which is also part of your staff management part, because the mechanic will need to take part of the filtration system. So over here we've got a water filter, and you can see the reason why it doesn't work is because there is no water filter available in this area for whatever odd reason. Now there is one. and that should filter our pool now, and that's easy as it goes. But the problem is at the moment there could be no maintenance, which is exactly what happened here, and we got to put a path connection that goes all the way into our stuff area just to ensure that, you know, it works. So this is that. And the last thing you would need to do with the staff zoning, I just feel like it is part of it because they have a negative impact on people if you just have them. I did put them quite away from everything else so that the people won't go here and have the negative impact. However, in order to make this a little nicer, I would actually go in and, you know, get some. Mostly, I like to do this in backstage corrugated kind of style, but you can do whatever you want. You can also make them super nice looking, and then I'm just gonna slap all these things in. As these buildings, unfortunately, are not styled anymore like in Planet Zoo, it basically doesn't matter what you do. You can just do a huge, big block of a building and put a fake gate on it, and then you're good to go, because that's just unfortunately how it works at the moment. As they don't look any good, you can basically do whatever. And we're gonna put like a normal wooden roof on top. This is not the corner piece I wanted. Like, let's say we're gonna use this one, go to 2 meters so we have it a bit overlapping here. Just gonna plop it in like so, and then we're gonna have a bit of a nice roof situation going on here, here, and here. We need that inwards thingy, which is that one. Oh, well, that's not the right size. This is the right size over here. There you go. And the last bit is obviously this one. And we're gonna plop all these building pieces in here to finish off the staff segment of our mega tutorial, because I just like the fact that you can hide staff buildings as well. It just gives the whole thing a bit of a nicer touch if your staff member is always going into these buildings to get a break. And again, you don't need to make this all look phenomenal. For me personally, it always is enough if the backstage building is like a normal, it doesn't need to be ugly, but like a normal generic building. See, this is that now. You could build a fence around, plop some images on or whatever, but this is part of the next part of our tutorial series, which we're going to do in a second. Alright, we are in the very last segment of this mega tutorial, or we are also in a tutorial part that is when you are almost done with your area. Now, as you can see, this is a park that has everything we needed. We've got shops, we've got a big entrance, we've got pools, we've got Flatrides, we've got a coaster, or actually 2 coasters, and everything we need, but it just doesn't quite feel like it, you know? It's not really properly done. It's not finished, and we are going to talk about finishing touches today, because there is a way to very quickly get your park looking a ton better without doing many different things, and we're going to jump right into it. So the very first thing I would recommend is fix your pathing, because over time you will have one or more issues in your pathing. So we're gonna start with this corner over here. I really don't feel like how this is looking, so either we can fix that with the edit tool, which is the first thing I wanna do, and try is if we can just pull that out. Yeah, that's almost working as I was hoping it is, and then just gonna drag that one to make it a bit more rounded. And then we're dragging this one back in, and there you go, that's almost fixed. Then this part over here is very unnecessary, so we're gonna get rid of it. So why having that, you know? Just making sure that this is gone and making sure that the edges are fine. Same things applies. That's nice. Let's grab these little benches, put them here so that they're there. And once we've done this, in order to make this all look better, we are also going to use the scenery brush. And we haven't talked about that yet, but the scenery brush is, for me personally, is part of the let's fix it. Okay, so we have some cool brushes in here, but I want to make a custom one. I already made some custom ones over here. I made some small bushes, but they don't fit this region. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new brush, and I'm going to use this as a tropical, let's say, tropical small ground stuff like this. Okay, then we go to add objects. We're gonna go to the nature, and I'm gonna go to, like, first of all, flowers. Let's see if we can find something in flowers. Yes, that's nice. We're gonna use the periwinkle because that's a good ground dwelling stuff that is nice. Then I'm also going to go into planters. There's nothing in here but bushes, and we're going to use some tropical stuff over here. We do have, what's that, bracken fern would fit in here too, but I think I'm gonna avoid that. I'm going to go to the elephant ear plant because that one is a good one. And I'm going to use the lady fern. That does fit in here too. And then we have the king fern. That's way too big. We can't use that one. We could use the king fern small, but small is still relatively big. I'm gonna go for the lipstick palm. I'm gonna use the small one for that too, and I'm gonna add another object to it, which is the monstera or Swiss cheese plant in this case, and I'm also going to use the small one. And now what I'm going to do, I'm changing the settings, and I'm gonna put the minimum scale all the way down and the maximum scale also to like this, and the object spacing all the way down too. This is what we do, and I'm gonna have the random rotation turned on to not all, but jaw and align to surface shall be on, because I want this to be adjusted to the surface. So these objects are, these settings will be applied to all of the objects. So click on jaw, click on, click on that, click on that, click on that. And then we're gonna go through here. It's a bit of a tedious work that you need to do this for all. Would be great to have an option to apply this to all, but you know, it's quickly done. Once you get the hang of it, you're just going to do this. The reason why I'm doing this is to get like a very nice little ground texture, as you can see. Look at that. This looks pretty cool, you know. Some of them, like, they look a little bit too similar, specifically these ones. So I'm gonna change this one to 50 to 100%, and then you can also see if that is better. Yeah, and I also want to make sure that they are a little bit further away from each other. Yeah, that works. Okay, cool. So this is good. And also I see the periwinkle. Actually, we're going to stay with the periwinkle that small. And we are also going to add a couple more other stuff in here to make it even more nice looking. Let's see if there's one more thing we can use. I think what I'm going to add is the yucca palm and the small one. And for that specific one, I'm going to go for 70 to 100, and I'm gonna leave this to 4 meter, and again this will be turned on. So I'm gonna save this as a new one, and I'm gonna say done. And now we have the custom brush in here. I'm not sure why this is called custom brush now, but okay, you will see this is the brush we have. Now what we can do is we're gonna reduce the size and increase the intensity, and we're gonna say align to surface, and now we can just paint this all in here. You know, that's the way of making things very, very quickly, and this way everything is starting to look a lot nicer. The second part of this trick is, and this is where it becomes a very, very nice little element to play with, you are going to just double click on the ground to bring up the textures. Once you got the textures, it's very important that you use some shrubs as a you know, texture, for example, and then you can paint this below where you actually put the shrubs, okay? That goes accordingly to what you've built. Look, that is super nice and just kind of changes the appearance of this area. What you want to do then is you go back to the scenery brush, and then you can also use, obviously, in the presets, go to tropical stuff, and then you could also use the trees large or whatever, and the intensity 20% maybe, and like this, and then you can just click them in, but just be careful, you know, not to do this too crazy. Maybe one here in the center. If it, oops, that was a lot. This is what I meant. Just be careful that they just plop in a bit. There you go. Look, the entrance is changed, and I want to have a lot more like these in here to block the view of this region. The same goes here. We wanted to put a slide here, but now I figured I don't. Gonna make this area here a bit more nicer. You know, these things will help you to make your region look a lot nicer. The same goes for the rocks, and I'm going to use the rocks over here to paint the side a bit. And now, as you can see, I didn't do align to surface, then they will float, which is very ugly. So you want to align them to surface. I like to go all the way down and increase the intensity so that this is looking a lot nicer. So here goes that. Just want to bring the rocks in here, just making sure everything looks a bit more dressed up and nice looking. Again, you can do a lot more things in a different way, you know, and you can make this all a bit more nicer. You can put some other things in, but this is the way to quickly, really quickly dress up your area. You know, this is, for example, here a very rocky texture to the ground. You could even get some tropical rocks in here as well. As a tiger rock, but I feel like they fit because of the mossy texture. And then you can also put some smaller plants in between if you feel like this. So that's that. And I want to go back to our custom brush because I like this custom brush quite a bit. And I'm going to paint all of the stuff in here as well, just making sure that the stuff area is nicely separated. We are going to do something else for separating in a bit, but that shall be a little bit of an idea. So here goes this. very nice indeed. And you can do certain things like that, just paint that around here as well, you know, around the coaster, making sure that everything looks a bit nicer. We also do have our beach area, and in our beach area we could also go to the tropical rocks and then make sure that the intensity goes all the way down, add a bit more spacing, and then you just click them into the beach area to make it appear like as if there were a couple of things. Okay, so this is some random stuff. Now, if you want to get this a little bit more nice looking by default, by the way, first of all, what I want to do, just want to make sure that all the way in here we also have our forest, you know, so it all looks a bit more nicer. Just pop this thing in here as well. Just make sure that you also, it should avoid the ride, so you can just click in here, but it, well, apparently it doesn't. So, okay, well, you gotta be more careful with this then. If it does go into the ride, you're gonna make this much smaller. Oh my god. Okay, so even though I have, well, it is a bit weird. It shouldn't do this with the ride, but it does apparently. So ignore what I just said. Be careful with that. Just gonna paint this in various areas here to make sure that this looks good. So the entire area is now painted nicely and has a certain appeal, but it's not quite done, because what you can do, and this is what I highly recommend, you can make some elements of style, I would call them. This is the way where you're not going to use the brushes anymore. This is where we get a bit more hands-on. So first of all, I would recommend go to the rock section and then type in tropical. We are in tropical area. We could also have one Mediterranean one. I'm going to show you what we do with this one. But there are some really cool ones, and I like this one in particular because that's a quite big one. And you can make this even huge. And this one can become a central focus point of your area. So just like use this to your advantage and bring things like this in to guide the views, okay? So we're gonna have this huge rock over here. Look, that just kind of makes this whole area look nice. And then we can also have this and be part of the beach segment here. And then you can also use another rock to kind of complement that and just bring that one in too. Not the biggest fan of the texture as of now. I really hope Frontier fixes that a little. The texture is a bit weird. But also, if we go to Mediterranean, they are so very off-white that I really like this. And we can also make some cool things on the beach now. So I'm gonna have like a beach rock. I'm just gonna pretend this is a rock that fits the beach. And we're gonna make like another bigger one here to the beach side as well. So just like so, rotate this a bit to give it a bit of an idea. So that's already pretty cool, gives the whole thing a bit more, you know, character. And the same thing will apply now to our area here. We are going to go into the path area and we're going to delete some spaces in the middle. I'm going to use the pentagon and I'm going to make this here. I'm going to make this here and here. Let's see if there's more. Nope, but we will fix something else in a bit. I'm going to cut out this one here too, and oh, that should be it for the moment. And I want to paint this in the nicer terrain. I'm going to go for the shrubs. I'm going to paint the shrubs in these edges so that this looks a bit more nicer. So that's that. And now what we're going to do is we're going to put some very dedicated trees in here. And this is going to help us with styling the area nicely. So we could also not just trees, but we can have some bamboo. Bamboo is also pretty nice always to cover areas up. So if you want to have bamboo, just plop them in here to just separate your staff area nicely. Also for the views. I always spam the Z key on my keyboard to rotate the piece so it's not always in the same orientation. If you're fancy doing this as well, just go for it. But now we have one thing in here. So also we have this blue eucalyptus gum tree. I like this one a lot. So we're going to plop this one in here. This is very stylish. And now we keep on going with, like, for example, a palm tree. But I want to have something else maybe, because these ones look good. I'm going to have another one here. That makes the whole thing look nicer. And what I also want to do is I want to have these palm trees over here. The desert fan. Or maybe there's a smaller. That one is better. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to place them now over here. Oh, are they floating? They're floating. Why the heck are they floating? So hold on for a second. There you go. Now I'm going to plop them here because this is something you can't really do with the brush. So you are prone to making it yourself. But as you can see, that's no big deal. You know, just going to plop them all in here. Makes the whole thing look a lot more as if it's supposed to be looking like this. And we are almost done, but something that is really offsetting to me is the way how the path look. It's a lot more we can get a lot more natural with it. So this is where we are going to fix some settings. We're going to use only the draw tool now on curve and merge, and we're going to make sure that we have the existing texture. And from now on, we're just going to make sure that we paint all these areas. That wasn't good. Also pretty interesting, since I used so many solar panels, now we have energy issues while it's raining. Well, at least something, I guess. That's pretty good. So I'm gonna fix this issue here. So that looks a lot nicer now. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna also edit the path. We can also use the edit tool to then just go in here and have these things, for example, just drag it all the way out here. And the same, let's go for the next node to see where the next node is. Edit tool as well. So it seems apparently to be here. I'm gonna drag this thing all the way here too. And then this is also kind of nice, you know, edited a bit nicer in here. We could use that one to drag the texture over and make this look a bit more nice according to what this should be like. So like this, look at that, very, very nice indeed. And so this is the way to make the whole path look a bit nicer. I'm gonna use the draw tool again, just start over here and then make a bit of a curvy road around here so that this would be how that looks, and then same applies to this region. We can actually go through here, why not? That's nice. And then around here makes the whole path look a lot more natural. And obviously we need the same thing over here. That just also looks like very, very poor and bad. And just like this, make that go around. Look at that. This is much better, like so. You can get a lot more clean. If you take more time, you can get a lot more clean, but this will eventually help to make this all look a bit more realistic. You know, we're getting there. It's not looking fantastic because we would need to take more time. You can take these kind of highlight trees throughout your entire park and put these in planters you've set yourself to have. You know, also maybe put one here and here, I don't know, just to make it look a bit nicer. And once this is all done, the last thing you can do is maybe get some highlights piece in. Okay, see, this is one of the regions now I want to have a highlight piece in, so I'm double clicking on that one, and I'm going to say H roof flat. Okay, so we're going to type in and go to all the pieces, and I'm going to say H roof. Okay, H is this. Okay, so this comes with all these pieces, and I want to put like a tower on top, and I'm going to use this piece in particular to create this tower like so, and then I'm going to have this one in the center to round off the tower. Let's see if I can do this. There you go. That looks like a tropical centerpiece, which is apparently not centered. Gonna select all of them to center it. Let's have a look that it is. That should be the center, right? Are we in the center now? Well, apparently we're not quite in the center. Now we are, while Queen Splash down there is doing her job. And then what we can do is we can select those two pieces, just bring them up real quick to make our piece stand out a bit nicer. You know, we don't need to do something crazy. You know, sometimes these little things are enough to make your area look nicer. You could also pretend that this is a proper tower now and put some walls in, but I think I'm gonna go with this and just give a bit of a nicer view on top. Fixing our energy issues, we can just quickly, as I said, finishing touches. This one seems to be broken down. Alright, we don't have power generator, no power available, which is very interesting. Let's see if we can have another power generation item. So that'll be this one. And I'm gonna see if we can get some energy back. So let's have a look. What about you? Okay, well, it doesn't seem like we have too little energy. Okay, well, that fixes the issue, which is good. But we are done, guys. We are done. This is what I wanted to show you. The very last thing I'm going to show you is a bit of a more tedious one, which is why I'm not going to finish this off. But another cool trick to get your park look nicer is use custom fences. You can either type in fence and use the ones from the game. Always looks good if you do so. You know, you can just also in some areas just like this and then follow along to make some custom curbs over here. That looks very, very nice indeed if you follow through, you know. But this can become a very, very tedious work, okay? So it will take a while until you have done everything. But I'm going to show you how much of an improvement it is if you do that. So I'm going to use this piece now and dress up this one over here accordingly. So if my math isn't broken, we should be able to do this better with angle snap. Okay, my math is broken, so never mind then. Just gonna do it this way. And gonna do it that way. And once you've done this, it's time for the very last touch, and this is lights, bins, and benches. This is what makes all areas look so much better. So we're gonna use the mythology lamppost. Why not? I'm gonna place one in here and here and here. Also one on the side of this one. And we've got a fire pit that can be there in the back. Alright, so this is pretty cool. And then let's go for a normal lantern as well, just to get a bit of a feeling how that could be looking like. I'm gonna prop this one here to the side, and the other one goes here accordingly. So that looks already a bit nicer. Now what we need to do next is we're gonna grab ourselves a couple more benches. We did have some in front of here, so just gonna copy it from here because I'm too lazy to search for them. And you can see they snap obviously to these edges. Plop them down here and here, you know, that's how it goes. You can also have some bench areas in the center, like this, and then turn them around and put them to the back side here too. Sometimes things like that exist in real life too, but this would look a bit strange if it is only this. So let's plop a kind of a lamppost part in here, like that, you know, very nice. And if you want to be creative, we're gonna type in fence and take one of these fences to have like a good backdrop of these things. Like, just gonna do this in red then as well to get along with the lanterns. Just gonna plop it in here, and you've got like a nice little seating area. And the last bit you're going to do is you're gonna plop in the bins. Because they always not only help to keep your area clean, but also they will help to dress up your area nicely. So you can plop one here in the front, next to this one, someone next to here, and all of a sudden your area becomes looking so much better and more realistic. But as this would be very tedious and even longer for this already ridiculously long tutorial, I hope you enjoyed this throughoutly. This has been it for the last finishing touches, but this has also been it for this entire series. Our helipad landing pad is not dressed up as I figure, so let's, I'm going to do this like just for the screenshot. But yeah, no, you have learned how to do that. You would just use some art shapes to make like a big H on here, so that is presumably a helicopter. But really hope you guys enjoyed this. I took the time to do everything. I hope you guys enjoyed this and know how much work and effort this is to be putting in. Hopefully that was helpful. And if there are still questions open of things that you have not learned yet or haven't understood or whatever, let me know in the comments. I'm here to help. I'm here to do more tutorials like this. And if you've watched this entire thing till this very point, you are insane. Thank you so much for doing though. I think it's the time where you need to subscribe if you haven't already. And also big thanks. If you want to help me, if this was helpful for you, you can also become a member on the channel or do a super chat donation. Whatever you want to do, this helps me out obviously. Or you just smile and be happy because that was helpful. And yeah, thank you so much guys. I talk to you in any other video I guess. But for now, this has been it with the mega tutorial. Thank you so much as always for your support. And goodbye.